Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Islamic Colony Podcast. Assalamualaikum, bro. Brother, the Muslim apologist, MENJ, is here with me. Assalamualaikum, bro. How are you?
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi and Eid Mubarak to
Oh,
those
brother,
celebrate. Let's not
knowledge notes
forget that.
just joined us.
MashaAllah, that's good. Let's bring him on.
Assalamualaikum, brother. How are you?
Oh, Alhamdulillah, how you doing?
We're doing well, alhamdulillah. Have you met
Assalamualaikum,
brother
brother.
MENJ?
Hey, welcome, Sam, bro. How you doing?
I'm good, Alhamdulillah. Eid Mubarak to you, brother.
And a belated Eid Mubarak back to you. I'm guessing you got some echo coming through. I can hear it. You guys hear it as well?
Nope.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, I think there's some echo on your part.
That's not better. Maybe that's better.
Yeah, that's better.
Yeah, it's better. Yeah.
So we're here to discuss the recent debate that happened between Brother Daniel and this Christian named Inspiring Philosophy. His name is Micheal Jones. By the way, brother, are you familiar with this Christian's work, Brother MENJ?
Pretty much. I've seen some of his work, but I haven't really digged through. From what I can tell, he's trying to repackage Christianity into his own version. Okay, some of the things that he says about Christianity are not even mainstream, not understood by
I mean, like,
Christians.
I think we made a podcast live stream
Yeah.
where we basically discussed how he's basically a heretic
But
under Christian doctrine.
exactly. So, but to be honest, I haven't actually dug deep into it. So it's good.
Brother, knowledge notes. What do I call you? Just knowledge notes.
Abdurrahman, you should be there on my
nice
thing or whatever. I didn't see this debate, to be honest, and I don't follow that. I'm not aware of the guy the Christian, if that's what he is. I'm generally I'm a bit behind on catching up on stuff anyway. Ramadan blues and everything, or post Ramadan blues, I should say. But I'm generally not too keen on the debate culture. Certainly with certain actors, it just gets a bit too much for me. I mean, for me, Ahmadiyat was the man, and no one has reached him, has matched him since his day. And to be honest, he was debating on something anyway, which was a bit more pure, which was another religion's revelation. Of course, it was corrupted, but it did have an element of truth to it, and so there's that Tawhidic underpinning in what he was trying to call to. I don't think anyone's, now and again, of course, as they say about time, a clock, even if a clock is dodgy, it's going to strike the right time twice at least. So even in debate, no matter how messed up or misguided the Muslim interlocutor will be, because he has something of the truth with him, a greater or lesser part of it, he's going to, hit some good notes, but he'll be off key for a lot of it, especially because debate should not be the go-to in dawah. I'm not saying it's a last resort, but the dawah of the prophets was conveying the truth and allow Allah to do the talking, allow the revelation to enter people's hearts. But sometimes, not all the time, but certainly much of the time in the Western Anglosphere experience, I can't speak for East Asia, South Asia, South America, but certainly North America and Western Europe, not even Eastern Europe, North America and Western Europe, there's this I mean, this is a feminist term, I don't like it, but toxic debate culture amongst, this kind of macho, as I mentioned in a recent video, they think they're on the front lines of dawah. It's not. The front lines of dawah are in Eastern Turkestan, are in Kashmir, in India, in Syria, in Palestine, Gaza. It's wherever Muslims are truly fighting to preserve their religion. As for us with our Western passports or near enough, freedom of movement due to our political status, we don't really suffer at all for doing dawah. Like now, I can openly say anything in relative terms and not fear having my doors put through. But that's not the same for people in certain parts of Eastern Europe, East Asia, and elsewhere. So in that case, alhamdulillah, we can simply convey the speech of Allah and His Messenger. And if there needs to be some back and forth, a little debate, that's what the ayah means, wajadilhum. Then, you give them a bit of an argument, to knock down their obstacles. But really, if no one is stopping you from speaking about Islam and telling about Islam, that should be your go-to. But unfortunately, too many of us, ourselves excluded, of course, present company, but I mean, as Muslims in general, in the Dawah scene, they like that showmanship. It certainly drives traffic. It boosts the algorithm. In fact, many of the superstars, if you want to call them that, relative
Superstar.
superstars in the space. How did they make their name? They'd go to Speaker's Corner, engage with some nobody, make themselves a somebody, and then go back and start, calling to Islam or entertaining or mixing between the two. But
Yes.
you'll
Yes.
find, and alhamdulillah, this Ramadan, I'm sorry for the protracted rant, but you'll find this Ramadan is a good example of, there was lots of shahadas across the masajid in the West. I don't know about what happened
Yes.
outside the West, but certainly in North America and Western Europe, lots of people took Islam, and because of
Yes.
social media, we're able to observe these in real time and see the responses. And it has to be said that the overwhelming majority of these uh, visual evidences of these people embracing Islam were masajid or mosques and projects that did not engage in kalam, that they engaged in the conveyance of the dawah of the messengers. Whether we may agree or not with everything they may say, the organizations or each of the individuals, or they think they're a bit uncut and rough around the edges here and there and everywhere, and that's very easy for me to say, being as uncouth as I am. But still, it's that message of letting the revelation speak to the people direct, calling them to the worship of Allah. That's what people are yearning for, especially in the hedonistic West, in the atheistic West. They don't care for like going into details of pseudo intellectual philosophical debate and all that kind of stuff. There is a
Yeah,
space
I
for
think.
that. I'm
By the
not
way, sorry
denying
to
it.
cut you off.
Yeah, yeah, go on.
Yeah, so basically, I think the problem with especially the Dawah scene that has become right now, for example, Brother MENJ, actually, he's been giving Dawah for like 20 years. Like, he's like
Mashallah.
a veteran here.
I
So,
Okay, I don't do dawah, I do apologetics. There's a difference.
Oh, it's
he
still
defends
down. It's
Islam.
still down.
Defends Islam. So he's been doing like 20 years. And most people don't know
Mashallah.
him. That's the funny part. So yeah, he's been doing Dawah for a long time, even
Yeah.
longer than me.
Well,
And I
well,
remember when he,
but yeah, well, people like Sam Shamoun and David knows me very well, so
yeah. So basically, the thing is that I've started my channel quite recently. I think 3 years, and over the 3 years, I've noticed that a lot of this Dawah has become very showmanship centric.
Yes.
It's very about like Andrew Tate, kind of like red pill, kind of like. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I have nothing against like brother Andrew Tate. I mean, he is a Muslim after all, and I'm
yes,
sure like I hope that he makes the right decision and whatnot.
Inshallah.
Now, of
yeah,
course, on that part,
sure,
there's been some good things and bad things. But the thing is, especially when it comes to Dawa and mainstream Dawa, it has more become like kind of like this debate culture type thing where everyone has to do a debate and only
Yes.
then they have a validation,
Yes.
which I
yeah,
think it's not like how it should be. I mean, I don't think this is how like Dawa should be or calling
yeah,
people to Islam should be. I mean, of course, like there's a place for debates and discussion, but the problem is that when you go into these platforms and when like this type of debates happen, and when it goes badly, it looks badly on all the Muslims. You know?
Well, here,
right.
if I might continue, here's the thing: the
Sure,
first
sure, sure.
casualty. Yeah, okay, thank you. The first casualty of debate is ikhlas, is sincerity, because you're immediately appealing to a crowd, baying for blood. You've got your team, and they've got the other team, and
Yes,
no one wants to give in, which is the opposite of actual Islamic debate. In Islamic debate, you are seeking to be guided and corrected. You hope that your interlocutor will teach you something about Islam. But when you're
yeah,
coming to own your opponent, to destroy him or her, then
Hmm.
already you're setting yourself up for a kind of failure, and that's where the second casualty of debate may actually be the truth itself. And you'll
yep,
see,
yep,
we can actually go through some debates where people have, and maybe I've called them out myself in the past, they've
yeah,
deliberately lied or BS'd because they didn't want to concede the point. And that's a
yes,
tragedy. Well, if okay, you're right, I'm wrong. Why? What's wrong with saying you're right? I'm wrong. Islam is not the enemy of truth. We are not fact phobic. So if the truth is with the other side, we accept it because that's the truth is from Allah. Regardless, He inspired the person maybe with something which is correct, and we've got misguided due to our own sins or ignorance. And like I said, there are of course times where debates might make sense, but the exception proves the rule. And the rule is that we try to convey, not convince.
Yeah. And that's the thing. By the way, I want to make a clarification. We're not attacking anybody, at least not now.
No.
But we will go through the
Yeah.
debate and we will criticize it as fairly as possible, and we'll try to review it as fairly as possible. And we're not attacking
Yeah.
anybody, so no need to.
Yeah.
Everybody chill in the comments.
Yeah, it's quite heated
All
in
right.
the comments. I could see a
Yeah,
lot
yeah.
of people chatting in the comments in the
So
chat.
let's start watching the debate, inshallah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Gonna
All
go
right. By
to
the way, before we go on, and I'd have to apologize in advance. I didn't intend to come on for a long time. I just wanted to give salam, show my love for the brothers in
Right.
public as well as in private,
Right.
and just support. But I really can't actually stay beyond.
okay.
I guess a couple of minutes
That's
or
fine.
something.
That's
I've
fine.
just
That's fine,
So I
brother.
really just
Yeah.
wanted to say, especially to the brother on our right from the East Indies, if to pay him
Me?
my respects. Yeah,
Me?
brother.
I'm not from East Indies, Aki. I'm from Southeast Asia. I'm from Malaysia.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, see, that's how I need my sleep. Basically, is what I'm saying.
No, it's all right. It's all right. I understand.
I got confused with East Indies in the Indonesian archipelago.
Oh
There you go.
no, I'm not.
That-
I'm not
that's what I said.
Indonesian. I'm not. Sorry, I'm not
I know
Indonesian. I'm
Malaysian.
Malaysian.
Malaysian, right?
I'm Malaysian.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's what I
I'm
meant. There.
Malaysian.
What do you call it? Isn't it called the what do you call the entire area? The archipelago.
Southeast
of,
Asia. Southeast Asia or
Southeast.
Nusantara. Nusantara in particular, but
Yeah, like
Southeast
Malaysia,
Asia in
Indonesia,
general.
Brunei. Collectively, what's the geographic term?
Oh, Malaysia, Indonesia, Brunei will be called Nusantara. Nusantara. The Nusantara region.
Sorry.
Nusantara.
Musantaran region, I think.
No, let me type it out in the
Okay.
private chat. Hang on.
That's fine.
Nusantara. N-U.
That's a difficult name.
Nusantara.
I thought it was
So
called
this so Nusantara refers to Malaysia, Indonesia, Brunei, Singapore. These areas. Okay? And parts of
but that
Philippines.
sounds like a political term rather than a geographic term, right?
It's somewhat you could say it's an ethnocentric term because it refers to only these the peoples in this particular region, because the peoples in this Nusantara region, in Brunei, in Malaysia, in Indonesia, and in Singapore, we are of the same stock. Yeah, same stock. Not the same race ethnically,
right.
but of the same stock. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I intended.
It's kind of like how Bangladesh, India, and Pakistan is kind of like have like
exactly
this kind of Sovietian kind of like
that's right.
identity.
Yeah.
It's similar to that.
Exactly. Yeah, it's similar that way. Exactly. It's like that. Yes, it's like this.
Okay. So, will you be joining us in reviewing the debate, or do you have to go now?
I doubt it, to be honest. I mean, I'll try, but I can't promise. Don't want to promise. Don't want to break my word.
All
okay.
right.
Let's then start up the debate, and we'll see from the beginning. Okay. So basically, what I want to do, I want to only review. I don't want to go through the whole debate. I think we want to go through the both opponents' kind of like opening statements, because the whole debate will like take too long.
Yeah, let's go through the opening statements and then the rebut, and then probably the rebuttals, and that's it.
I think we can react to some of the open discussion, because that's where
some of it.
Basically it
okay, we can but we don't have to do
sure.
the whole thing, right? Because it's like 3 hours, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's too long.
I don't think Brother Rahman will be able to join us for the whole thing.
Yeah, right.
That's
fine. Any of it perhaps, but yeah.
Okay, no problem. Okay, hold on. Let me
catch you guys inshallah.
By the way, is it okay if we play my opening statement from my debate with Tom Jam, because it's relevant, right?
Yeah, sure. Oh, brother Abdurrahman left. That's fine. Inshallah, it's good to have him here. We are great.
That's right. Who's this
some
guy?
bots in the comment section. Okay, so I think. By the way, who wants to be a mod in the chat? Raise your hand.
Make Sydney Football TV a mod, because he's a trusted member of mine. Yeah. Okay. Oh, he's asking what time am I going live tomorrow? I'll be live tomorrow at 10:15 a.m. Malaysian time. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, he's back. Saungaki.
Oh, he's back. Okay.
Okay. Bro, can you hear us? Okay, brother Zeus wants to be a mod. How do I make you a mod?
Yeah.
Hold on.
So does Sydney. So does Sydney. Yeah. Why don't just make both of them mods? Oops, what happened to brother? What happened to brother knowledge?
Oh, I think he maybe joined a bit for a bit. I'm not sure. Okay, so let me
Okay, all right.
make a few mods because
Yeah.
that's very important because I'm gonna guess the thing is gonna get a bit heated. The comments I can
Yep.
already tell.
Yeah, because I posted it in my
Okay, so brother, I'm gonna
community
make
as well.
brother
Yeah.
Zeus the mod. Okay, please try to
Uh,
make sure there are no bots in the comment or there are no trolls. Uh, yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I've made you a standard moderator, so you can basically kick people out. Okay, I don't know. Okay, so let's get started, inshallah.
Yep. Ready whenever you are.
Sure. Okay, here we go. Oh, I can still see brother Abdurrahman, but he's not connected. I'm not sure what's going on there.
Maybe his connection is not very stable.
Yeah. Brother, by the way, if you want to join us, you can join us. But let us know. For now, I'm gonna remove you from the studio. But if you want to join us, then you can join us later, inshallah. I think
Yep.
it's probably late there. He probably wants to sleep.
Yeah.
It's fine. Okay, so let's get the show on the road. There
Yep.
we go.
Whenever you're ready.
So this is from brother Daniel's channel. So let's get started. Can you guys hear the audio?
What audio? I can't hear any audio. Nope, I can't hear. Maybe there's no audio.
Okay, thank you very much. This
Oh,
debate a
okay.
little bit more
Yes, I can
structured
hear.
than previous ones. In particular, we're going to have
Okay, so one thing I want to do something first, which is
All
that
right.
I'm not gonna speed it up his portion of the debate, Michael's portion of the debate,
All
because
right.
he cites a lot of research papers, and I want to go through each and every one of them. So
Okay.
it might get a bit tedious, but I want you guys to stick with it because it's very necessary that you debunk each and every one of them because
Right.
he misrepresents most of it. Okay, most of the studies that he cites.
Okay.
So let's go.
15-minute opening statements, Michael going first, then 8-minute rebuttals, 5-minute cross-examinations, 35 minutes of open dialogue, then 5-minute closings from each speaker, and then about 20 minutes for Q&A. So during the Q&A, we're going to have to keep the rebuttals down to 0, just to be sure we can get through as many questions as possible. With that, thank you very much, gentlemen. It's a true treat to have you. We'll let you get the ball rolling, Mike, with your opening statement.
Thank you, James. Thank you to Modern Day Debate for hosting. So this is a debate I never thought I'd have to have because I assumed that as a species we realized the
Yeah, you didn't think you have to have this debate because you didn't read the Bible, did you? Like, he doesn't have to have this
Exactly.
debate.
Exactly.
Like, dude,
Yeah.
did you read the Bible? Did you read Ezekiel? Like,
Exactly.
you didn't have to have the
Exactly.
debate.
I mean, did you
Like,
read? Do you read what Moses? Did you read what Moses said to the Israelites to do? What to do to the Midianites?
yeah,
To
and this
the,
is the thing. Like, even
yeah.
from the very beginning, he starts being disingenuous. He knows
Yes.
very well that
Yes.
under Christianity or Christian canon laws, this is
Yeah.
perfectly allowed. Like, there's no moral
Yes.
objection here. So he's
Exactly.
already appealing to his modernist kind of secular crowd. So what are your
Yep.
thoughts on this? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, young managers. If you look in the, I actually mentioned this in my opening statement in my debate with Tijam. Maybe you could play it later, but basically, young managers were considered to be perfectly normal because they were done when the girl has reached puberty. Okay, and there was no such thing as the concept of teenagehood or anything of the sort, transition towards adulthood or anything of the sort, because once you have reached puberty, you're considered to be an adult. And back then there were no schools, there were no universities, there was no need to have an education. Basically, once you hit puberty, you are expected to marry and bear children, and that's it. That's your job. Okay. And the boy, of course, once he reaches puberty, you're supposed to basically be the man of the house and go to war and tend the fields, etc. Okay, there's no such thing
And
as going to
nowadays,
university and
all you
getting
have
an
to do
education,
is like go.
etc. Okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
nowadays all you have
yeah,
to do is go
right.
to school. You know,
Yes, because
fail in your
nowadays all you have to
class,
do is
chase after
exactly go to
girls.
school,
Like,
find a job, find a job,
yeah.
buy a house, get a car, then only you get married. Back then,
So like
getting a car is
already
not even important. Get
the
yeah,
equivocation is so wrong. Like you can already tell. Like you
yes,
don't even have to be a genius. So to compare like
exactly,
these two timelines, like
exactly, exactly,
like
exactly.
so absurd. Like you don't even have to be a
So
Muslim to see
so
the absurdity in the logic.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So in my opening statement with Tijam, I mentioned the fallacy of presentism, basically
Mm.
imposing our own values and our own current practices upon the past and judging them with our situation, which is totally fallacious because you can't do this. Okay, I mean it's totally
Yeah.
ridiculous because the things that we do today doesn't apply to them because they don't have that same experience as we do now. Okay, their
Mm.
experience are not the same as us today. Okay, they had to face wars and
Brother
hardships
Bird,
and etc.
Nest,
All
right?
right.
Plus, Assalamu alaikum. Wa alaikum assalam, bro.
Oh,
Thanks for
walaikum
joining the
salam
stream.
warahmatullah. Yep. Yep.
All right,
So
let's
yeah.
continue, inshallah. Let's see
Yeah,
what else
yeah, let's
comes.
go ahead. Yeah. Yeah.
Practice of child marriage was an abomination at this point. But apparently, Muslims, like Daniel, think this is a practice he can defend as a moral good. The reason this
No, the real question
Yeah.
is why are you not defending it? That's the question. It's not that Daniel is defending it. When I get what Daniel is defending it, why are you against it? Why are you against your own
Yeah,
religion?
exactly.
That's the strange part.
Exactly. Exactly. The strange thing is back then his ancestors were probably marrying young, okay? And now
Mm,
he's saying that what his ancestors did was wrong, okay?
mm.
So basically his ancestors were pedophiles and he's the result of this relationship, okay? This is what he's doing, okay? Yeah.
Uh, hold on.
Yeah.
There's the imposter in the chat. Let me block him. By the way,
Again.
that's not me, by
Oh
the
my
way.
god.
Brother Zeus, can you ban him?
Oh my
Someone
god.
is.
Okay.
I found an
Someone is
imposter.
oh my god. There's another imposter in your channel.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Brother Zeus,
yeah,
can you
better.
block this guy called Islamic Calling? That's not me, by the way.
Banning yourself.
Actually, you know what? Hold on. Let
Yeah.
me do that.
Just ban the guy, man. I mean, why the hell this person is why the hell is he what the hell is this person thinking?
Yeah.
Okay, it's very funny. Why are there people impersonating you anyway? I don't get it. On your own
It's not
channel.
me.
Yeah, I know, I know.
Yeah.
I know it's very odd, isn't it? Yeah.
Remove.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, is there a way to see this guy's profile? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, you can, but you just need to go on YouTube and then click on on the triple dots, and then you can see go to
Yeah,
his
yeah.
channel.
It's a fake
Yes,
account.
yes, that's right, that's right.
Probably Christians.
Oh, Archangel's Media is here. Hi, Justin. How are you? Yeah, he's an Orthodox Christian. Yeah,
Oh, nice. Alhamdulillah.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, so let's continue, inshallah.
Yes, go ahead. Full steam ahead. Let's see what this.
Okay, actually, you know what? No, hold on. Let's.
debate came about was because Daniel publicly challenged me on the topic, which is fine. I've publicly challenged people, but when I've done so, I've reached out to them privately to set it up. This did not happen, which left me confused as if this debate was going to happen. But I contacted James to make sure we certainly got to this point. So here are my goals. I will argue the practice of child marriage is not morally permissible because of the harm it causes. It leads to physical abuse, bodily harms.
Okay. Let's stop him right there.
Okay, that's very stupid.
Let's
I mean,
at first clarify what the Islamic position is, and then we'll show what
yes.
exactly is wrong with his argument.
Yep.
So, in regards to marriage in Islam, there's a verse in the Quran, Quran 4:6. It says the following.
Yep.
Hold on, let me.
Maybe you can pull it up. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, let me find the.
Yes.
Let me share.
Waalaikumsalam, brother Waliul Sakib. I hope I pronounced that correctly. I'm sorry if I
Okay.
didn't pronounce
So
it well. Yeah.
okay, so let me make it a bit bigger. Can you see it?
Yep, I could see it.
Okay. So let me read this. Quran chapter 4, verse number 6. It
Yep.
says the following: and test the orphan in their abilities until they reach a marriageable age. Then, if you
Yes.
perceive in them sound judgment, release their property
Yeah.
to them. Now, scholars have interpreted this verse to what it could be, because it does mention a marriageable age,
Yeah.
and they have come to the conclusion that this is referring to puberty, right?
Yes.
Now, when
Yes.
puberty is something there's a debate about, but most scholars agree that it is referring to when someone has their first discharge or like wet dream,
Menses,
right?
menses, or
Menses, when they
discharge. Yeah.
first have their
For
sexual
menses for
discharge.
female, menses for
Menses, yeah.
female, and wet dream for men. Yeah. Mm,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Usually that's when it described as. Now, of course, they can start early.
Yeah.
Now, again, another thing to note: if there is no sign of this type of sexual discharge, then usually the scholars define the age as age of 15. That's the like the
Yes.
lowest category. So you
Yes. That's
have
right.
if they show signs of like this type of sexual maturity or like sexual thought, then they have matured earlier, well, and like pubic
Yeah.
hair and all other kind of stuff. But if
Yes.
they don't, in that case, it's at the age of 15 or age of 17, something like that.
That's right. That's right.
So
Mhm.
this is the view of most of the Islamic scholars,
Yeah.
and so so this is the view of most Islamic scholars. Now, one thing needs to be understood is that in Islam, it is not necessarily based on age, but
Mhm.
if some country does like put an age on it, it wouldn't be necessarily be against it. But like, again, like this is a issue regarding faith, but this is the position,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
And
That's
this is
right.
the same position in Christianity, because in Christianity, the Bible doesn't have any age of marriage. If you read some of the commentaries, it is clear. Maybe you can elaborate on this, bro.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing actually in the Bible which says anything about a cut-off period of marriage. In fact, like I've mentioned earlier, when Moses was warring against the Midianites, he told the Israelis to
Mhm.
take the girls for themselves, right? Meaning, take them as as sexual slaves and wives. Okay, so this was Moses's
Mhm.
period. Okay, so and then if you look into David and Solomon, even there are issues. There are actually there's actually a debate regarding with regards to the age of what was the woman that David saw? What was her name? Yeah, the woman who was bathing, and then in the Bible, and then David saw this woman and fell in love with her, and sent her,
Rebecca?
basically sent her.
Rebecca?
No, not Rebecca. No. Rebecca is with Isaac. This is with David. So this lady whom David eventually married, there are some actually debate with regards to her age. Okay, some scholars, some Christian scholars actually say, or Jewish scholars actually say that she may have been as young as 8 or 9 years old. Okay,
Hmm.
so it's not a okay. I think Justin has mentioned the name. Yes, Bathsheba. Yes, that's right. Thank you,
Ah,
Justin. So yeah, so there is a debate with regards to her age. Okay, as well as if you look into the new, let's look into the New Testament, because the stories of the Old Testament, some Christians don't accept it. And if you look into the traditions of the New Testament, okay, it is often said that Mary, yeah, the mother of Jesus, alayhi salam, she was allegedly 12 years old when she married Joseph. Okay, Joseph the carpenter, and it is said traditionally, it is said that he may have been 90 years old. So
hmm.
why is young marriages an issue? Okay, why is it a problem now, for today? I mean, this kind of marriages happened a very long time ago. We cannot impose our own morals and our own customs and our own practices, modern practices today, upon those of the past. Okay, we cannot accuse them of a crime when it is not a crime back then. Okay, to me that is a serious anachronism, and it is the fallacy of presentism, as I've mentioned before in my opening statement with Tijam. Okay, so I think maybe later on, after this debate review, we can play the opening statement. Okay.
Sure, sure.
Yeah.
So Now, in regards to this, my position is that from a Christian point of view, there is absolutely no objection you can raise that against Islam in regards to this. Now, the fact that Michael is trying to somehow raise an objection shows that this has nothing to do with Christianity. Like, he's throwing Christianity under the bus. Like, any
It's
honest
totally
Christian,
the thing is this issue about child marriages, about we don't like children getting married, we hate pedophiles, etc. All these are modern constructs. Okay, all these objections
by the way,
which
actually, don't
only
say the P word. I'm gonna get banned.
okay right, I'm sorry. The per, okay. So all these issues with regards to the per issue, all right, these are all modern constructs. Okay, back then, okay, 1,400 years ago, there was no such thing as per. Okay, nobody engaged in per. Okay, nobody were per because everyone were married around that same age range. Okay, and there was we don't have this kind of problems. Okay, I mean they
Also,
don't
I,
they
I
didn't
think,
have this kind of
by
problems.
the way,
Okay,
let me just
yeah,
go through this. Okay,
yeah,
so
yeah. Go ahead.
let's say throw this Christianity aside. Let's say for the sake of argument that
Right.
what he's saying is, let's assume that his position is correct, right? Let's assume that this is morally wrong. Sure, okay, fine, no problem. Now we want to see some evidence from him that this is morally wrong, right? It shouldn't be hard for him. Like since he's a Christian, surely he can show us some kind of evidence from his book
Sure.
that
Show
this is
it.
morally wrong.
Show us a statement or a verse from the Bible which says that that young marriages below the age of a certain age is wrong.
Yeah,
It's forbidden.
And another okay, yeah. So let's continue. Let's see what he says.
Psychiatric problems and a high risk of death. So if you agree with Daniel, Chris Hansen would like for you to take a seat. Take a seat right over there as we dive.
Who's Chris Hansen?
I don't know. I don't understand this cultural reference. This is a very American reference, so I don't understand it.
Yeah.
I may be American born, but I don't
Now,
understand it. Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah. Okay.
Sure.
United Nations defines a child as anyone below the age of 18. I suspect Daniel will disagree with this because it's not the age of adulthood historically. So for the sake of clarity, I will define a female child as anyone who has not completed puberty. The CDC says...
What are you talking about? Like, who defines child like that? Like, no one defines children like that. What's he talking about? Like, Alexander the Great, at the age of 16, conquered, like, I don't know, like most of Greek, I think, or something.
Yes.
Like, so, like, was he like a child? Like, I don't get it. Like, what's criteria is this?
Exactly. There is this Sahaba of
15.
There is this
when he
there
first
is
went
this
to battle.
Sahaba. Yes, there is this Sahaba of the Prophet, right? I think it's Usama bin Zaid. He was a commander. He was a commander at the battle of I think it was Khandaq or Khaybar. I don't remember. He marched against Rome, and the Prophet elected him to be a commander of a battalion of the troops to march against Rome, and he was only 16 years old. He was only 16 years old when he marched against Rome. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. The Prophet elected him. Okay. Yeah. There you go.
And that's the thing, right? I mean, like, from the very get-go, his premise is false. Like, you don't define children like that. Children defines to when people who have not reached maturity in any shape or form.
Yeah.
Like, for example, when it comes to Alexander the Great, he studied under, like, who did he study? I think he studied under Aristotle. Please correct me.
I don't remember.
I cannot remember the name.
Maybe Socrates.
One of the philosophers, one of the Greek philosophers.
I don't. It could be Socrates.
So he was extremely smart. He was extremely smart.
Yeah.
He was not some dumbass, like some idiot going around in battle. And this is why he was more successful than most generals today. Because he was extremely mature for his age. And that happens because the thing is that maturity varies between different people. Like, so some people may be more mature at 10-year-old than some people at 20. And this is something that he completely dismisses. It's like he acts like this doesn't exist. But in reality, it's not a cut and dry. This is clear cut, a false premise that children means someone who has not, finished age of 15, which is absurd.
No,
it's not.
It's not based on age. It's based on the environment and the situation and his own bodily, body development. And each individual varies according to their own development. Okay, right. Yeah. You know what? Even according to this definition, I don't think I was mature enough, even at 18. Okay, I don't don't think I was mature enough. Okay, back then, after 18 years old, all I could think of was playing, video games and nothing else. Okay, I don't think I reached maturity even when I was 18. Okay,
Yeah.
right? Yeah,
Brother Angela
yeah.
Media says, no child is as mature as 20-year-old. Guys, it's nonsense. No, it's not. Ask Alexander the Great. He conquered most areas at the age of 16. There are child prodigies that can beat you in chess, no matter how hard you try. They're actually smarter than you. And this is a fact. This is a well-known fact. I mean, some people are more developed, more mature. And this is well
Exactly,
known.
exactly.
This is
Yes.
not shocking.
because
Because the
because
thing
you
is
have to
that,
keep in mind, because of the environment that they were in, because it was a more like
yeah,
a pressure cooker. Okay, I mean, today we are a bit more relaxed, so obviously we develop slower. Okay, I don't think I could be as mature as Alexander when I was 15, compared when he was even 10 years old. Okay, but back then you are forced to be matured faster because of the situation of the time, because of, it's basically a survivor of the fittest, and
several of it is that.
you are expected to grow up, and to basically be a
Yeah,
man
brother
once
Sheikh
you have
Ryan
reached puberty.
also
Yeah.
talks about an interesting point. No need for that. Just talk about Romeo and Juliet. Yeah, that's another thing. Right, Romeo and Juliet is like what, like 10 years, sorry, 15 or 16, uh, in
Yeah,
their story. But like most of the Western world didn't have an issue with that.
exactly. I mean, why wasn't it a problem then, but now it's a problem, you see?
Mhm.
That's the thing.
Now,
Yeah,
let's set aside all of this. Now,
yeah.
let's still give him some ball. Let's see what else he has to say.
All
Puberty
right.
is complete in girls between 15 and 17. So it makes sense. The following stage, age 18, is when we grant the
Yeah,
satisfaction.
that's the thing. Like, I mean, like, there are some child prodigies, right? Because not child, they're child, but there are some
Yeah.
fighters that were like going to battles at the time of the prophet that would
Yes.
like beat people like people like Michael
Exactly.
in a fight easily.
Exactly. I
Yeah.
think at 40 years old, I don't think I could handle someone who's 14 or 15 in a battle back
Hmm.
then. Back then, in the battle of, let's say, a battle of Uhud, or the battle of Khandaq. If I were to, if you were to give me a sword and a shield, I doubt I could beat that person in battle. Okay, and you transport me back 1,400 years ago in a DeLorean. Okay, I don't think I could beat anyone. Okay, even though I'm 40 years old, right? So it's not about age, actually. It's about maturity, about the situation, about your environment. Yeah,
Hmm.
and your upbringing, obviously. Yeah,
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 exactly. So let's
mm,
continue.
yeah.
Of adulthood. And so I will argue no one should really marry under 18, and no girl should be subjected to motherhood until she has decided to have a child and has matured enough. Obviously, there is some variation when that occurs. Therefore, I will argue consummating marriage with a girl who has not completed puberty and forcing her to bear children is immoral. Now, Daniel disagrees.
Okay, then don't have children. Like,
Right.
so his argument is that, oh, you shouldn't. There can be complications in regards to pregnancy. Okay, then don't
Exactly.
get pregnant. Like, don't have children. Like, you can delay, having children, and all his argument
Exactly.
collapses.
Exactly.
Like, it's
Exactly.
not an obligation that you have to have a child. And also,
Yep.
like, this whole argument that because it's harmful, therefore it's wrong, is fallacious. It's a fallacious argument. So let me
Exactly.
share something with you guys. There is a fallacy in logic. It's known as, okay, there we go. Let me share this.
Right. 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 Later, brother, I think I want to share with you a list of child marriages, or young marriages throughout history, if you don't mind. I'll share
Yeah,
that.
sure.
All right.
Okay, so
Okay.
there is a logical fallacy or logical problem, shall we say. It's known as the Izod problem or the naturalistic fallacy. Now,
Mhm.
Michael very well knows about this fallacy. Okay, he knows this very
Yes.
well, but yet
Yes.
he still appeals to this argument. Now, let's read
Yes.
what this fallacy actually is. When
Yeah.
the conclusion expresses what ought to be based on only on what is, or what ought not to be based on what is not, this is
Yeah.
very common. So basically, this form of arguments are fallacious. You cannot say
Yeah.
what ought to be based on what is. For example,
Yeah.
let's say that it's very cold outside. Based on that, you cannot say, therefore, no one should go outside, right? Sure, it's
Yeah.
cold, but the coldness of something doesn't really tell you what you should do in response to it. You know, like for example,
Right.
like I
Right.
know that
Right.
taking injection will harm you, right? But just because it will harm you, that tells
Okay.
us nothing about what we should do in response to it, right? So
Yeah.
this argument is completely fallacious in that way, because, for example, the form could be X is, therefore X ought to be. No, just because X is doesn't mean it ought to be, right? The point is that, let's say that something is hot, right? Just because that thing is
Yes.
hot doesn't tell us anything. For example, we can use that hot thing to cook something,
Yes.
or we can
Right.
avoid it, right? So
Sure.
it depends.
Sure.
It depends how you
Right.
use it. So it
Yeah.
doesn't tell us anything about whether that thing is either right or wrong.
Exactly.
So and this is the fallacy he commits throughout the debate, and I'll show you how he commits this fallacy and why it's problematic. Because this is important to understand, because this guy's name is philosophy. So I find it quite bizarre that he doesn't recognize that this is a fallacious argument.
Philosophically fallacious. He should change his name to that. Philosophically
Yeah.
fallacious.
Now the thing is that even if, let's say for the sake of argument, that this is true, these things cause harm. So instead of removing those harmful elements, he's saying that this shouldn't happen, period. Which leads to a lot of contradictory proposition, which I will show in the discussion.
Yeah.
For example, he's saying that people shouldn't marry if there's some harm, and yet he's completely fine with women over 35 getting married, even though that can also cause harm. He's fine with like people doing being pregnant outside of marriage.
Exactly.
I mean,
Exactly.
for some reason that's not problematic. So this leads to all kinds of inconsistencies. And so therefore, this is why you cannot make this type of argument. It doesn't follow. I mean, just because it is harmful doesn't mean that you shouldn't do it. For example, if you go outside right now, it's raining, I could get cold, but what if I need to go outside, right? I have to go outside. Let's say I have to go to the office. I really need to go to the office. Then what are you going to do? Same way, let's say that there's some harmful elements in this type of marriage, but just because there's some harmful element doesn't mean that people cannot do it if there's a need for it, right? For example, what if people back then didn't have any other options? What if child mortality rate was high? What if conception was very difficult for older women, or people didn't live very long, right? So all these factors.
So basically, the argument is like this, right? Driving is harmful because it can cause death and destruction on the road. Therefore, do not drive. Therefore, you cannot drive.
Yeah, exactly. For example, you can be scammed using a cell phone. Therefore, no one should use cell phones.
Okay.
That doesn't
That's really stupid. Right? Yeah, I get it. Yeah, okay, I get it. It's a fallacy.
I mean,
definitely.
again, the point is that you can remove harmful elements without removing the whole thing, and this is the fallacy that he commits here. And we'll discuss this in more detail, inshallah.
Yeah.
So let's continue.
By the way, do you think you could share could you share the link that that I shared in the back chat? Yeah.
Private chat?
No, in the screen.
Oh, okay.
The share screen.
This one?
Yep. So exactly. So I just want to show a list of child brides. Okay, I use the term very loosely. Okay,
let's call it child bride. Let's call it a minor marriage.
Minor marriage. Okay.
Teen marriage. Early teen marriage.
Early teen marriage. There's a whole list of it. Okay. There's a whole list of it. Look at this. Ancient Egypt. Akhenaten, age about 16, was married to her half brother Tutankhamun, and Tutankhamun was 10 years old in 1332 BC. Okay, then we scroll down. Okay, all these are more recent, so I'm just scrolling down. East Asia. Okay, look at that. Okay, and then let's find someone younger. Okay, 17th century, Tokugawa Masako, aged around 12 to 13 years old, was married to the future Emperor Go Mizuno, aged 23 years old. There you go. 19th century, Ruh Mabai, age 11, was married in India.
By the way, I have to take a pause for a bit. You continue to read. Basically, it's doing adhan here. So I'm going to walk for a bit. You continue to read, inshallah.
All right. Okay. So I'm just going to read up a few of these marriages. Okay. Look at that. Mrinali Devi, aged between 9 to 11 years old. She was married to Rabindranath Tagore. Rabindranath Tagore, I think he was a poet, a playwright in India. So age 22 years old in 1883. Okay. So Europe. Okay, there you go. Okay. 9th century. I don't know how to pronounce this. Ethel Swift, age about 14 or 15 years old, married to Bugred of Mercia in 853. Judith of Flanders, age about 12 to 13 years old, was married to Ethelwulf, King of Wessex, who was aged around 61 years old. Yeah, there you go. The per word should appear, right? Beatrice of Vermandois, aged around 10 years old, married to Robert, Margrave of Neustria. I don't know whether I pronounced that correctly. Aged about 24 years old. There you go. 10 years old, 12 years old, 14 years old. These are all very young marriages, all right? And then Gisela of Hungary, aged around 11 years old, was married to Stephen I of Hungary, aged around 21 years old. So basically what I'm trying to show is that this was very normal in Europe back in the 9th, 10th century, 11th century. Okay. You want younger marriages, you can look into the 12th century. Cecile of France, aged around 8 and 9 years old, was married to Tancred, Prince of Galilee, aged 30 and 31 years old. There you go. There you go. How young that it could be. Matilda of England, aged around 12 years old, daughter of Henry I of England, was married to Henry V, Holy Roman Emperor, aged around 28 years old. Okay. And then, we have so many young marriages in Europe. Matilda of Anjou, she was 13 years old when she got married. Sibylla of Anjou was around 11 years old when she got married. Eleanor of Aquitaine was around 15 years old when she got married. And then Sancha of Castile was about 14 years old when she got married. Theodore Comnene was about 13 years old when she was married to Baldwin III of Jerusalem, by the way. And then, 14 years old, 11 years old, 9 years old. There you go. Eleanor of England, daughter of Eleanor of Aquitaine and Henry II of England,
Okay,
married a
I
15-year-old
think
Alfonso,
you killed
and
it.
she was
Like
9 years old.
slaughtered it.
I mean, there's so many ages here. I mean, Agnes of France, she was married at 9
these are all
years old.
Christian, by the way, right?
Yep, all of them
These
are
are all Christian.
Christians. Mary of Ponthieu, 13th century, 9 years old, married off to Simon of Dalmatin. There you go. So all these were per. Were they all per? Per.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I actually found another good analogy to explain the fallacy here. For example,
Yeah.
did you know that if you drink too much water, that can cause you to be sick?
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I
So
do
apparently,
I do know that. Okay, sorry. If you drink too much water, there's a sickness associated with it. I don't
yeah.
remember the
So
term.
basically, it can cause
But
harm
yes,
to your. I think
yes,
it's to liver or something if you drink
yes.
too much water.
So
So
don't
if
drink
you go by
water.
this logic, what if I say that don't drink water?
Don't drink
Right?
water.
It's harmful.
Don't drink water.
Obviously, it doesn't follow like that. That's not how logic
Oh my
works.
god.
You can just
Yeah,
ban
that's
something
right.
simply
That's right.
because there are harmful elements. I mean, by the way, what's
Exactly.
funny is that this guy advocates for drinking alcohol.
Exactly.
Yeah, he defends drinking alcohol. So, like, clearly you don't have a problem with things being harmful. Then why are you taking issue here? Like, it's so like bizarre. But anyway, let's continue.
No, the reason is simple. It's
Science
because
support.
it's nothing to do with religion. It's basically his secular values. It's nothing whatsoever to do with religion, because the Bible definitely doesn't say anything about child marriages or young marriages. There's no clear forbiddance of this, and as you can see in the what I shared earlier, those people were Christians in Europe. All of them married young. A huge majority of them married young, and they had no problems with it. So why is it an issue today? Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right, let's continue, inshallah.
Supports this assessment. Instead, in his debate with Destiny, in Islam, you can consummate the marriage at puberty. Then, in his post-debate review, he said, "What is so fundamentally wrong about consummating marriage at puberty? This is a question that none of these liberals can answer. All liberals can cite is like these abstract claims about what is psychologically beneficial or harmful. But this has not been established. This has not been established scientifically. It's all just what's culturally acceptable in the post-industrial superpowers." Well, that's what I'm going to answer tonight, and I'll explain why it is immoral. Because once again,
That's good, because I hope that you can show us some example of this being condemned by Jesus, some example of this being condemned in the Bible, because that is your moral anchor, I imagine.
Exactly.
So you should be able to do that. Very
Yeah.
good. We're very
Yeah.
very excited. Look at our faces.
Yeah.
Look at Brother MENJ, so excited.
Yeah.
child marriages
Because
lead
the thing
to
is that if you cannot establish from the Bible, which is your book, right? And I know that. Okay, so basically, he will make the point that he's a moral relativist, or like I don't know, something called virtue ethics, right? So he follows virtue ethics, right?
Yeah.
Where's that in the Bible? Like I don't know. right? Like where's that in the Bible? Whatever. Let's say you follow virtue ethics, then at least establish virtue ethics from the Bible, because we know that Jesus said to follow the Old Testament to uphold the law. He even told people to follow Jewish teachers, and I will quote him later on in the debate. So if this is really the case, that moral relativism is true. By the way, in case you guys don't know, moral relativism is the idea that morality is dependent upon the context, right? But even by the situation, then he cannot raise any objections against the prophet, because the context was different. But let's say for the sake of it, this is true, then why doesn't Jesus say that? Why does it tell people to follow the Old Testament? There's a complete contradiction.
Exactly.
It's a nonsensical worldview. So if you have this principle, which is that morality is relative, or it depends, is based on like, or what is what is currently moral right now, then how do you know that your position right now is moral as opposed to their position back then? Like, how do you distinguish that, right? So there's a lot of problems that he need to explain before he goes on, and he doesn't explain any of it in the debate. That's the shocking part.
That's right.
Because
That's right.
you would imagine someone who studied philosophy and logic and all this kind of like kalam nonsense, he would do that. He doesn't explain any of this. He doesn't explain his moral position properly. He doesn't prove his moral position properly. Especially because like the thing is that not everyone in the audience is a Christian, right? There may be some atheists there. So why should an atheist care about this anyway? Like, let's say that they don't agree with your worldview, right? They don't agree with the Bible. They don't agree with the Quran. They don't even agree with like virtue.
I think actually for atheists is even a bigger problem, because they don't have actually a moral standard. So isn't it fine for them to just consummate marriage at any age, regardless whether it's puberty or not? For an atheist, it shouldn't be a problem, right? Technically speaking.
No, I mean, like, no, there is a problem, because like for the atheist, you need to prove that what you're saying is true. You need to prove that virtue ethics is the default moral position, or it should be the default moral position. But the problem with virtue ethics is that you cannot, like, you need to establish that. You need to prove that virtue ethics is the default moral position, and he cannot prove that. He didn't prove that in the debate.
Exactly.
Anyway, so let's continue, inshallah.
Physical abuse, bodily harm to girls, psychiatric problems, and despite what Daniel has said, this has been demonstrated scientifically. So the first thing to note is puberty is not a boundary point that girls cross over. It's a process. It takes time for a girl's hips to widen, for her to develop into a woman. This is nowhere near complete when a girl has her first period. To treat womanhood as a boundary point for girls and not as a process is an unscientific way to understand puberty.
Okay,
unscientific. Why is he using science?
He's saying that girls don't have proper hip bones and whatnot. They don't have like these things and that thing.
He said that puberty is not. Puberty is a process. It's not a line to be crossed. So it's like if you reach puberty, it doesn't mean that the person is mature. That's what.
Why do you allow like girls to like go to school or play sports? That they're not developed yet, right? They could get hurt. Or why do you like let them go to school? They clearly cannot like consent to that, according to some of these people. Or like, why do you like let them go to prom? Let them have boyfriends? Like, that doesn't make sense.
Exactly.
Like, if this is really the case, that they're not developed, and there's a risk of like, by the way, this happens before they get married. In many cases, they already have boyfriends. They already have sexual partners.
Yes.
Why is that okay? Now, I'm sure he will say that that's not okay. But then why don't you ban that?
Well, why do you allow this environment? Why do you allow this environment to continue? That's the thing. You know that this environment causes it. Why do you allow it to continue? You see?
Yeah.
That's the point.
And another thing, I think. Let me share an article.
Yeah.
The thing is that this type of argument based on naturalistic things will backfire on him, because there are also conditions where people don't mature at the age of 20.
Yeah. Exactly.
So let me share the screen. Okay. So.
Right.
So can you see the screen?
Yep.
Okay. So this guy didn't hit puberty until he was 19.
Yeah.
So according to Michael, you shouldn't have sex until you're 20, or he shouldn't have sex until he's 20. Like, Like that's just bizarre.
Exactly. Because he
And
says
if
that
this,
puberty is not. Because he says puberty is not the finishing line. It's just a process, part of the process for growth,
yeah, part of
right?
the process. So this guy, what if you have a situation where someone doesn't ever reach puberty? So they should never get married, right?
Yeah, you should
And
never
that's the
get married because
problem,
they have
right?
never reached the
And that's
process,
the
right?
problem, right?
Yeah,
Just
exactly.
because you have some
Exactly.
harmful element doesn't mean that you shouldn't engage in it, or why you shouldn't engage in it. Right? He never explains it.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Yeah. Mhm.
And the thing is that it's not like people don't have a relationship outside of marriage in Western secular environment. They do.
Yeah. I mean,
So, like, what's the issue?
have you ever watched High School Musical? It's all about glorification of prom and all this. Okay, so
Yeah,
yeah.
Actually, I have an interesting read Quora thread that I'll read at the end of it, inshallah. So basically, what the thread says is that it talks about basically a lot of people who had their first sexual experience before marriage in the Western settings. And they all talk about how they had it at the age of 10, 9, 8, 10, 12, right? So should I read it now, or maybe we can wait until I go through
Yeah,
some of his like
yeah.
description?
Let's move on to the next. Yeah, I think we've already dealt
Yeah,
with this, right? Yeah. Let's go.
Yeah.
There is no reason to assume a girl becomes a woman the moment she shows any sign of puberty, let alone she be ready.
Then when does she become a woman? What is a woman? When does she become a woman?
Yeah. It's only in the West that you get this kind of questions, right?
I
I
mean,
mean,
like,
in
okay, imagine this.
Asia, we
Imagine
know
this.
what a woman
So
is,
basically,
right?
what
Yeah.
puberty means is when someone is sexually aware, right? So a person
Right.
is sexually aware. They're watching, like, I don't know, like they're watching porn, they're masturbating, they're lusting after like the other gender, right? And
Yeah.
they're still a
Yeah.
child, according to him. Does it make sense?
I don't know.
So how do you decide?
Prob-
So according to him, even though they have sexually developed, they're not a woman. Okay,
they're
at
not.
least
They're
you
not.
would at
They're
least
not women
acknowledge
yet.
that they are at least teenagers, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
for marriage and childbearing. Yet this is the Islamic teaching on the issue, which Daniel has stated.
But Islam doesn't say that you're already a fully grown woman if at the moment you hit puberty. It's about maturity again. Like if you have like kind of like developed this type of sexual feelings, then obviously you're not a child. That's the point.
Exactly.
That doesn't mean you're like a wise woman or wise man just because it's
No.
puberty.
Maturity and puberty are two different things. You see. So once you hit puberty, you're on the path towards maturity. But but basically, what Islam says is that you can basically, you're an adult now. Okay, maturity comes
Yeah.
much later. I don't think I actually matured even after I reached
Oh
18
yeah,
or
yeah.
20.
Sorry,
I
I,
think I'm
I
reached
I
much
I
later.
got it
Okay.
wrong. What I meant
Yeah,
was that.
yeah.
So basically, this is like the staging point where you're on your way to like
Yeah.
become a mature person from an
Yes,
Islamic point
yes.
of view,
Yes.
and then otherwise, like what criteria can you use? Like these
Yes,
people,
yes.
like they're 16, they're 15, they're going around, they're at the age where they're commanding armies and doing battle, but they're
Exactly.
still children.
Exactly.
You still
Yeah.
treat them like children. That makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. I
No.
mean, I'll be honest. You see, when I was 17 years old, 18 years old, I was still playing video games. Okay, so I don't know. Does that make me mature enough? I don't know. Okay, compared to people back then in during the time of the Sahaba,
Mhm.
at 15, at 14 and 15 years old, they were already commanding armies. Okay, against Rome. So there you go. Okay, you can see the difference in maturity, right? Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Actually, you know what? Let's read some of the because it's gonna be interesting. So
Okay,
let me
go
share
ahead.
the screen.
Hmm.
Okay, here. Can you see the screen?
It's still loading. Okay, got it. Right.
Okay. So this is a
Wow.
Quora thread. It
Oh
says the
wow.
following:
This is
At what
interesting.
age
Okay.
did you have sex? Do you regret it
Okay.
now?
Oh my
Now
god.
let's see
Okay.
if these people are children. or were
All
children.
right. All right. Okay.
So I'm not gonna read the full thing because some of these guys they like show the whole kind of like pornographic detail
Oh
like what
my
happened.
God. Okay. Right. Right.
But
Right.
anyway,
Okay. Yeah.
let's see. So here it says, I was 12. One of my very good friends was 3 years older than me. His sister was 2 years older than me.
Okay.
And the one day we all were sitting around chatting, boys and girls, and the porn subject came up. Everyone shared their stories about if anyone has seen porn and about what our group was based between age to 12 to 16. A lengthy discussion says, so anyone wanted to watch a movie. So basically they started watching porn. Everyone
Okay.
declined it.
Right.
We all discussed it. We were having, and then we'll talk about what's next. Next moment, there is silence as the movie starts with a beautiful blonde in a miniskirt and body. Okay,
Oh my
so
God.
you know where this is going,
This is
right?
too
As
graphic.
opposed to
Yeah.
cigars,
This.
and
Yeah.
their
It's a bit
faces
too.
were they were
It's a bit too
embarrassed.
graphic.
About a week later, I go. About a week later, I go over
Oh
to
my
my friend's
God.
house
Oh
to
my God. He
visit.
was 12 years old
Oh,
and he was already doing this. Oh my God. At 12 years old,
yeah,
I couldn't even think of anything else apart from what's my next day, what's my next class. Okay.
yeah.
I
I
didn't
go over to
even
my
think about
friend's
this. Yeah.
house
Oh
to
my
visit, but
God.
when I get
Okay.
there, only his sister's there. She's in young. I'm not gonna read it. Okay, you fill in the
Okay. Okay.
blanks. What
Okay.
happened? This is a
Okay.
whole
Right. Right.
pornographic
Right.
story.
Okay.
So basically, he had,
Yes. It's
the
definitely a pornography study.
uh,
Yeah.
relationship with his
Yeah.
friend's older sister
Exactly.
at the age of 12.
Exactly.
And let's see what he
Exactly.
says at the end.
Okay. Yep.
Uh, okay, I'm not gonna read
No.
that.
No. 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 Better not read that, man. You just go down.
Don't read it,
I
guys.
th-
Yeah.
there's some protest
Here's what he
in
said.
the chat.
Thinking back,
Oh my God.
now it felt like heaven as I
Oh
lay
my
blah blah blah.
God.
Okay, not reading that.
Oh good Lord.
Then,
No, please
then
no.
okay, not reading
For
that.
the love of God,
This is
no,
the
please
this is the
don't.
best experience of my life, right?
Okay.
That's what he says.
Right.
This is the best experience
Okay.
of my life. Does it sound
Okay,
like
let's go.
he's like some depressed guy, like Michael wants us to think? No, this guy was
Yeah.
having the
You
best
know what?
time of his life.
This is basically child per, okay? You know, I mean if we
I mean,
if we
then
continue this.
another story. I'm not gonna read the whole thing. You guys fill in the blank. Okay,
Yeah.
this is what it
Yeah,
says. I
okay.
was nearly 13 years old. 12 when I
Yeah.
have first
When
had S. It was with a 12.
okay. Yeah, right.
Okay, I'm not gonna read that. And this
No,
is even
don't
like
read
there's
this.
some LGBT
Yeah,
garbage
okay.
here.
Okay, yeah.
Wei Yang
We're young.
was
10
10
maybe.
maybe. She was
She
the same
was the
age.
same age. Oh my God. All right. Okay.
Okay. So
Okay.
at the age of 10. Yeah, so
Okay.
a couple days
Let's go down
later.
further.
So basically
There's one
he
more.
had
The
like
anonymous. Just read the last one
S,
and that's it. Let's read the last
S,
one.
and like later on they did it again.
Right.
Again, there's
Oh my
no
God. Okay. Yeah.
evidence
Let's
that
stop.
they
Let's
regretted
stop.
it.
Let's stop after reading this because there's too much TMI.
Yeah. Okay, sorry about that. But there's a reason I'm reading this.
Yes, I
And
know.
so
I know.
I was 12. He was my older
Yes,
sister.
12.
With my
Yes, 14. There you
friend's
go.
older sister at the age of 14.
Yes.
This is
yes,
even more
yeah.
dirty, but I'm not gonna read that.
Yeah. No, let's not read
Anyway.
that anymore. Okay, thank God.
Sorry about that, guys. But the point I'm trying to make is that they're not children. They're not effing children. All right, stop it.
Yeah. Exactly. So I don't think you can call them children anymore, even though they are 13, 14, 15. I don't think you could call them children anymore. You see?
Yeah.
That's the whole point.
That's the
whole
point.
point. That's the point.
So,
Exactly. That's
Michael,
the point.
if you're watching, chances are when your kid reaches 10 to 12-year-old, I know it may sound shocking, but there's a chance he may be watching, the P word, or the M word,
or
right?
engaging with a partner,
or
doing
even
that.
worse, engaging with a partner, right?
Exactly.
So you look out for that. If you still
Yeah.
want to think that, that's just children doing children things. But you know what? Let's take it to a darker corner. Let's say a 10-year-old, and there are cases like this. 10-year-old murders or bullies another person to death. Cases like this have happened.
Yes.
Do you know in Korea, kids who are at the age of 12 to 13 or something like that, if they commit a crime, they're not punished because they think that they're like children.
Yeah.
Do you think
because
that's morally
underage.
just?
Yeah.
Because according to you, they're just children. Does it sound like children?
Yeah. No.
Does it sound like childly behavior? Children wouldn't know what S is, how attraction work.
Yeah.
But not only do they know, they're engaging in it.
Exactly.
They're fully aware.
Exactly.
That's the point.
Exactly.
Anyway.
Exactly. Exactly.
Let's
Yeah, that's
continue.
the whole point. So that's the whole point. You know, this so-called morals, secular liberal concept of, oh, a person is still a child until he or she has reaches 18. I think that's bull crap. Okay, because
Hmm.
once you have reached puberty, you're going to have those sort of feelings, and you're going to have a natural inclination towards those doing all sorts those sorts of things, and there's no stopping it. Okay, that as you have shown in the Korah, they are actually doing it. Okay,
Yeah.
they're actually doing it.
By
Okay.
the way, I didn't
Yeah.
even read some of it. Some of it were like at the age of 5 or 6.
Oh my God. Yeah. 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 Exactly. Okay. So yeah. And okay. Yeah. And I don't understand why Christians accuse Muslims of being supportive of when you can see in the Quran thread most of them are from the West. Okay. I'm pretty sure a
Yeah.
majority of those who
Now,
wrote that were,
now, to be
are
fair,
from the
there are
West.
some Indians
Okay.
in there.
Okay.
It this also happened in secular countries and other places. But the point is that
Yeah.
clearly
Yeah.
you have a problem when you say that these are just children; they need to
Yeah.
be protected. At the same time, they're going
Exactly.
around having sex
Yes.
like an
Yes.
adult.
Exactly.
So you
Exactly.
cannot
I
categorize
think
them
I
as
think
children.
yeah, I think there's a
That is
problem with how
fallacious. That's a false
yeah,
premise.
there's a problem with how secular liberal democracies categorize children or define children. You see,
Hmm.
I think that's a fundamental problem there. Okay, so yeah, let's continue if you want.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, this study, that is marriage under 18, found that child marriage was significantly associated with delayed antenatal care, miscarriages, preterm delivery, low birth weight, health problems in newborn babies, faulty feeding practices, lack of knowledge regarding family welfare methods, and health implications. They note child marriages lead to serious health consequences. It also
Bullshit. Fake news. Okay. Let's go to a little bit of statistics. Okay?
Isn't that
Give me some-
isn't that naturalistic fallacy as well?
Yeah, that is also naturalistic fallacy because
Yeah.
again, like this. Okay, let me show you why this fallacy is problematic. Okay, so
Okay.
let's look at some different variables in this
Right.
in this equation. So this study that you saw
Yeah.
was from India, or more specifically, it's from Gujarat, right?
Okay.
So
Yeah, Gujarat.
let me share a few. Hold on, let me. So basically, the study showed that there, when it comes to, here we go. Okay, so when it comes to teenage pregnant mothers, oftentimes their children can be unhealthy, or they can be unhealthy, that kind of stuff. Well,
Right.
here's a variable that you need to take into consideration, because for as far as we can see, all you've established is correlation, not causation. So what are the variables? One, in India, in many cases, people suffer from malnutrition. Now, why is this important? Because when you're a mother, if you're lacking nutrition, it's very much possible that will affect your health and affect the health of your child. Okay?
Yeah,
This is a
exactly.
very important factor, and this is the point. A lot of this kind of like nonsense data he points out are from poor countries.
Yeah.
So this scam artists, like the UN or human rights, all they do is go to those poor countries, living in very bad conditions, without any access to healthcare, without any access to food, and they said, they cannot have children. They have problem with children. Therefore, that must mean young marriage, minor marriage is bad. But it doesn't follow, because what about because you completely ignoring the fact that these are poor countries. I mean, how do you know that these things are also common in richer families? Because
another version of basically this is another version of the naturalistic fallacy, right?
Yeah. So basically, no, this is actually a correlation with causation fallacy.
Okay.
So basically, all he established is correlation, but just because there's a correlation doesn't mean there's a causation, right? And causation is what he needs to establish. So, for example, imagine if I say that every time I wake up, I see that sunlight is outside, right? Now, does it mean that because I wake up, that's why there's sunlight outside, or is it because this is the time the sun rises, that's why there's sunlight outside, right?
Yes.
So simply based on correlation, you cannot say that this is what caused it, right?
Yeah.
It's fallacious.
Exactly.
You need to establish that this is the causal link using logic or using reasoning. But he didn't do any of that. He just said, "Oh, there's a correlation. Look at that."
Yeah. Exactly.
So I ignored the fact that these are actually poor families. Because the thing is, oftentimes when this marriages happen, they get married at a very young age because of poverty. But we have no data in regards to how it affects richer families, or who have good access to care, who are treated well, and And because the thing is that I personally know people who have been married like that, and they're very happy,
Okay.
as a matter
Okay.
of fact.
All right.
So brother HK says, how are you brothers doing? Alhamdulillah, I'm good.
I'm good.
How are you doing?
Alhamdulillah. I'm good too.
Thanks
Alhamdulillah.
for coming to the stream. So brother Estes is here. Alhamdulillah, bro. How are you? We were just discussing regarding the research paper that he brings up, which supposedly shows that there's young mothers can suffer from when they have babies, they can suffer from problems, and we're showing that that's only shows correlation, not causation, because the data is from India, and especially from poor families who don't have access to good health care, who don't have access to good nutrition. So when you put these factors in, his argument doesn't work, because all he established is correlation, but we have no reason to think that's what's causing it. So this is one thing. Another thing is that he talks about prenatal health care. And for this, we need to go to another study. Let me go to this. Let me take it out. Stop sharing. Oh, hold on. Prenatal health care. Here we go. By the way, guys, there is a lot of kind of like studies and data that we will need to go through. So please be patient. Here we go. Now, there's a paper that shows that there's a strong correlation between poverty and pregnancy or health of pregnant woman. Okay. The reason this is important to consider is because, again, like I said, most of these studies are from poor countries. Okay, they're not looking at rich countries like Saudi Arabia and whatnot. And another thing to notice is that when you selectively go into poor countries, then it clearly shows that you have a bias here. So that could be a reason for us to not take this study as a causal link for why there's poor health in these families. For example, in this study, it says the following: poverty, pregnancy, birth outcomes, a study of the earned income tax credit. It says the following: economic interventions are increasingly recognized as a mechanism mechanism are to address perennial health outcomes among disadvantaged groups. In the United States, the Earned Income Tax Credit is largely poverty alleviation program. Little is known about its effect on prenatal health among recipient and their children, and couple and exploit quasi-random variation of the size of EITC payment over. So basically what the study did is try to look at, does increasing someone's household income affects the prenatal health, or basically the mother's health, especially young mother's health in regards to their children. Does it improve their health, right? And so this is the method they used. The study sample includes women surveyed from the 1979 National Longitudinal Survey of Youth and their children born during 1986-2000. Outcome variables include utilization or prenatal and postnatal care, use of alcohol, tobacco during pregnancy. So by the way, this is another thing he completely ignores. Oftentimes when you use alcohol or tobacco, that can also lead to complications during pregnancy. But he doesn't address that. He actually promotes alcohol, actually. But anyway, term birth weight, breastfeeding status. We examined the health effect of both household income and EITC payment size using a multivariable linear regression. We employ instrumental variables analysis to estimate the causal effect of income on prenatal health. By the prenatal health, mean the health of mothers, basically. Using EITC payment size as an instrument for household income. So the result they got, we find that the household income or EITC payment size are associated with improvements in several indicators of prenatal health, meaning mother's health improved as the income improved. Okay, which means if you can reduce poverty, you can reduce this effect of bad health of mothers and their and children, right? So again, this goes back to being tied with nutrition. Many of these countries don't have access to good nutrition, don't have good access to healthcare or education. That is a very important factor he completely ignores. And this is why I know this guy is disingenuous, because he knows this is a very important factor, and he ignores this completely. he cherry picks data and all shows that, oh, look, there's a correlation between young people and and pregnancy, but completely ignores this. This is a very important factor.
Definitely.
So yeah, and that's the point that I wanted to make. Now let's continue, inshallah.
Yep.
Now there are more studies that I can cite, but we'll get to that inshallah later on.
Yeah.
Oh, another thing, I think he also mentioned premature birth, but did he mention it yet?
No, we have not mentioned that yet.
Okay, let's continue, inshallah.
Bereaves young girls of their childhood by overburdening them with domestic responsibility, motherhood, and sexual relations, rather than allowing them to play with friends or go to school.
Bro, do you still play with a friend?
How old? I mean, when you mean now? Or back then?
No, now.
Now, you mean play video games? Probably, yes.
No, with
Online
your friends,
games?
like you used to when I was a kid.
You mean now? No, not now. Obviously not now.
Okay,
not
so are
today.
you happy
Yeah.
or unhappy?
I don't know. It's hard to say. I have so many things to do that I don't really have time to think whether I'm happy or unhappy now. Okay.
I mean, I
find
don't
joy in
still with friends. I'm still relatively happy. So I don't know what point he thinks he's trying to make by saying that, oh, they're not allowed to play with friends, so they're gonna be unhappy.
Well, on a more
Also, by
serious
the way,
note, I think
you can still play with your friend. Aisha
Yeah.
did like play with her friends, like even when
that's
after
right.
she was
That's
married.
right. Yes, exactly.
And
exactly.
I know people. I had friends in college who actually
Yeah.
were studying with us who were already married.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, they were already married in high school, and they were just fine. They were doing perfectly fine. They're completely healthy. They're very happy. They didn't seem like abnormal to us, and they didn't have any health related problems. They're happily married, right? So I don't know, like a very stupid point, in my opinion.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The study continues and says that child mothers are physiologically and psychologically not prepared for childbirth. Maternal morbidity and mortality.
Okay. Let's pause it right there. That's a
I
lie.
think better reverse that. Because,
So basically,
okay, go ahead.
oh, by the
show
way,
the quote. You did show the
I
quote.
forgot to add one thing.
Okay, go ahead.
So on the study that he cites, right?
Mhm.
The study itself says that the food that the mothers give to their children is not good, right? So let's read it, and we'll see. I mean, his study itself says this. Yeah, it's this one. Hold on, let me.
Yeah, but I noticed he used a lot of secular records. He never cited anything from the Bible, which is also another thing. Okay. Why is there no statement from the Bible, or or canon or Christian canon law? Okay, at the very least, right? Yeah.
Okay, so here it says, as far as feeding is concerned, infants born to a woman with CM or minor marriage were found to be less extensively breastfed, as well as fed with poor quality complementary food. Yeah, that's because one reason could be easily because they don't have access to good food, right? They're suffering from nutrition, and it literally says they're fed with poor quality complementary food. They don't have access to good food.
Exactly.
And again, this literally says that in the study, and he completely ignores it.
Yeah.
So let me share. Hold on. Selimenter said, no, it's not. I mean, it's literally in the study, man. I will give you guys the link. You can check it out for yourself. And even the World Health Organization says there's a strong correlation between poverty or lack of income and mother's health or child health.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to young mothers. Let me share. Now, again, I'm not saying that this is the only thing, but it is a very important factor you have to consider. And this completely destroys his argument because he failed to establish any kind of causal relation. So here it says women in low-income countries have a higher lifetime risk of death of maternal death. Low-income countries.
Yeah.
A woman's lifetime risk of maternal health is possibility that a 50-year-old woman will eventually die from maternal causes. In high-income countries, that is only in 5,300 versus 1 in 49 in low-income countries. So the ratio is very low, especially when it comes to teen mothers. The ratio of their death is very low
Yeah.
compared to low-income countries, where the ratio is very
Yeah.
high. It's
Yes.
49 in 1, where it's 1 in only 5,300.
Yeah.
And this shows, like, this is because of low income.
Yeah.
It's very little to
Yeah.
do with marriage itself.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So let's continue, inshallah. So here he basically commits the oversimplified cause fallacy. Hold on, let me. Do I have that? Where is that? Try to find the animation. Oh shit, I don't think I have it. Hold on, let me add it. So basically, I
Right.
have like this list of fallacies animated. Let me see if I can find it.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Oversimplified cause fallacy.
Yes.
It's loading. So, what are your thoughts on this so far, bro?
Yeah, he's basically repeating the same thing that Tom Jam did when I had the debate. Basically, it's just packaged in a different title, but it's pretty much the same points. Okay, not much difference. Okay, yeah. Or the only difference being that T Jam was a bit more stupid because he didn't actually give any references. Okay, at least he gave references, right? Yeah.
So, did you see it? So, this fallacy is known as oversimplified cause fallacy.
Yep. I see it.
So,
Yeah,
basically, the idea here is that when you have a multiple variation, that can be the cause of something, and you ignore all the variation and only show one variation that kind of like agrees with your viewpoint.
yeah,
That is
yeah.
a
Exactly.
causal thing.
Exactly.
This becomes fallacious. It doesn't follow.
Okay. Right. That's right.
So,
Okay. Yeah. Do you want to continue?
yeah, sure. Hold on. I think I have more. And there are more studies that shows that like this. Let me share one more study. So you can clearly see I spent a lot of time researching this.
Yeah, I can see that you have
Guys,
definitely
I hope
looked
you
into it a
guys are
lot.
not bored by this. But like, this needs to be established because I feel like I do respect Brother Daniel a lot because he had a lot of courage in going to this kind of environment. But I do feel like I don't think it's okay. So how should I say that? Okay, so basically, I think he didn't have he didn't have time to kind of go through each of these data point that he presented. I'm sure that if he had, he would have absolutely destroyed him. So, which is why I feel like it needs to be established that some of the things he said are extremely problematic and it doesn't follow. Some of it is absolutely fallacious, which is why I'm going to go through a lot of like the studies and the research. I don't know if we can finish all of it here because there is a lot of data points that he brings that are extremely problematic. That he even lies about some of the research data, right? So I'm going to go through a lot of them. But if it goes over like 2 hours, we're going to end the stream for now. Inshallah, we'll continue at a later time.
We have a part 2 then. Yeah, why not? Yeah, part 2.
Yeah.
Why not? Yeah.
Basically, yeah. Hold on, let me share the. Okay. So here, this study was published in National Library of Medicine. The study title is Poverty, Urban, Rural Classification, and the term infant mortality, population-based mortality. So I think this is something he mentions, infant mortality. So this study looks at the infant mortality in poor countries. It says the unadjusted odds of term infant mortality increased with increasing poverty. Again, saying the same thing. All these different studies all saying the same thing, that when you increase poverty, it increases mortality, child mortality, right?
That's right.
With the births in medium poverty countries having 1.4 times and births in high poverty continues having 1.8 times.
That's right.
So countries that have high poverty are higher in terms of child mortality or child death than countries in low poverty. The odds of infant mortality than infants whose mothers live in low poverty continues. So basically, the chance of a low-income family or low-income household.
I think someone is mentioning the hadith of Aisha playing with dolls. Here, I have a doll. I'm a 40-year-old man. I'm playing with dolls. Okay, does that mean I'm a child? Okay, there you go.
Yeah. So basically, the
Right.
point is that what the study shows is that when you reduce when the lower the poorer the family are, the chances of that family having health complications in terms of the mother and their babies is higher,
Yeah.
much higher than
Yeah.
high income countries. And this is
That's okay.
established in multiple different research papers that I just cited.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Hold on, where is it? Okay, here we go. Now I think next we go to 4.51. We haven't gone there yet, but let's
Is also noted to be high in such young mothers. The girls lack the maturity and the education to properly nurture their own children, and then they make mistakes that hinder their own children's mental and social development, because the girls have had their own mental and social development hindered by being forced to marry so young.
whoa.
So they then
Yo, what do you say? I kind of missed it.
Read it.
I'll be beheaded for the icons in the Orthodox Study Bible you have. No, I've already told you, Justin. Those things are not. I don't worship them. Okay, they are just part of the book. I just consider them to be part of the book, and that's it. I mean, what do you expect me to do? Burn the cover? I mean, that would be stupid, right? I bought it for like 200. I think about
No,
30 or for $60 USD.
I
That's a
think
lot of
he's being
money.
sarcastic.
Okay.
He's basically saying you would be beheaded for the icons for in order
Yeah,
to study.
he's referring to this.
Give it
He's
up.
referring to this. He's referring to the cover of this. Okay, hang on. Because I showed this to him several months ago. Several weeks ago. Sorry. Where's the Bible? Yeah, this. He's referring to this. Yeah, this. Yeah, this. Okay. Yeah, he's referring
Okay.
to this. Yeah, this. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. No, it's just a book. Okay. For me, it's just a book and nothing more than that. Yeah. I respect books. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, let's continue, inshallah.
then hinder the development of their own children. So arguing for girls to be forced into these situations is blatantly immoral.
Okay. Again, here he's just doing like a straw man. I don't think Daniel is arguing for girls to be forced into the situation, because
Yeah.
although Brother Daniel did not clarify this, but you cannot force someone to be married. There's a clear hadith by the Prophet where he says that, I think someone comes to him and says that if a girl, someone is forcing her to be married to someone else, and he said that, her permission has to be taken. So basically, the idea here is that you have to take the permission of the girls if they have reached maturity, right, or puberty, or something like that.
Right.
So it's not the case that you can just force a girl to be married. Now I know you guys would probably bring the objection that but they're just so young, right? They clearly cannot make decisions. And again, we disagree with that.
That's why
Because
that's why in Islam we have the guardians. We have the guardians to consent.
yeah, not about the guardians, but
feel
someone
that-
who has
yeah,
reached puberty, right?
Yes.
At the age of 15, let's say.
Yes.
I don't think you can argue and say that they're incapable of making decisions.
Exactly.
I mean, sure,
Okay.
they may not be as mature as like a 20-year-old, but this is not true that they cannot make decisions. I mean, if you saw from the Quora
I
thread,
don't think
they're
so.
very much incapable of, capable of making decisions, right? In many cases, 16 to 15-year-olds even outsmart many adults.
Yeah.
And I think you can make a very good case if you look at historical examples where you had kings at the 12-year-old who did very well. He had, I don't know, I think it was Caesar's cousin who got to the throne at the age of 12. I don't know. Have you seen the TV show Rome?
I've heard of it, but I haven't actually watched it.
Okay, so,
Yeah.
so I can't remember his name. So there's this emperor, basically a child emperor, who's basically like the cousin of like Caesar, right?
Okay.
So in the show, they show how he comes to power. He was very young. He was like 12 or 13 or something like that. And
Okay.
is that you or is that like a...
Yeah, can you ban this person? It's a troll. Oh my god, someone impersonated me. Oh my god, can you ban the person, please? Yeah. Oh my god, why did this person?
Wait, where's the mod? Bro, are you there? Ban this guy. What happened to the
Oh
mod?
my god, yeah. What happened to your mod?
Yeah, that's what I'm searching for. Okay. I think he deleted it. Thanks, bro.
All right. Yeah.
All right.
Just ban the person. I mean, why are these people so desperate to to impersonate others? I don't get it. Especially on their own shows.
Brother Sheikh says you're popular now.
Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah, I guess we both are. We both are. Okay. Right. Yeah.
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 Shit. Sorry. What was I
Hmm.
saying? Kind of lost track.
Yeah. You were saying something
Oh yeah.
about
Uh,
the age, the maturity, puberty,
yeah.
making
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
decisions, making decisions.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Making decisions. So yeah. So and another problem with this type of arguments is that we send children to school. So if this is really the case, they're incapable of making and consenting,
Yeah.
then we shouldn't take their education or graduation seriously
Exactly.
until they have reached
Exactly.
the age of 20, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
So
So you
anyone
know
who's
what?
been
So
employed,
if a yeah,
they have to be
basically
fired because
if a child
all
is
of their
incapable of
previous,
making yeah,
yeah,
yeah, if a child is incapable of making decisions, then we shouldn't at 6 because we start sending them to preschool at 5 or 6, right? And then we send them
yeah, yeah.
to to primary at 7. Then since they are incapable of making that decision for themselves, then we shouldn't send them to school at all until they have reached 18. Only then they can decide whether they want to go to school or not.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, basically, everyone who has a job now has to be
Yeah.
fired. They need to go back to school and finish everything they study up until they're at the age of 20.
Because they never had because they never consented to being sent to school, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Until they reach 20, and then they can come back and have a job. You need
Oh
consent
my
to this.
God. Oh, this scenario is hilarious. I mean, oh my
It's
God. Okay.
ridiculous. Now, of course, they can make decisions, right? Like, they're not
Okay.
stupid.
Okay. Okay.
So,
Can
of
you
course,
share
they
that
can make
comment by
decisions.
brother Arteshan regarding the number 18? I want to say something about my country. Okay. So he says, why do the West think that 18 is some kind of magic number? Okay, I'm going to tell you something that may shock you. In Malaysia, the legal age for marriage is 21. It's not 18. Okay. So basically, anyone below the age of 21 is a child or a minor in Malaysian law, under Malaysian law. Okay, there you go. That's
Wow.
it. Okay. Yes, 21.
21.
21. 2-1. Okay. 2-1. Okay. It's not 18. It's 21.
It's just ridiculous, man. I mean, like, I mean, to
Okay.
think that
So
you're not
basically,
mature.
anyone below the age of 21 is immature under Malaysian law. Okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Sydney football says that 21 is more logical than 18.
Maybe I don't know, but I think that will mean that if
By the
the
way,
West
is
practices
brother
yeah.
Sydney football a Muslim?
Yes, he is. He's a Palestinian Muslim.
Okay,
Yeah.
alhamdulillah.
Right. Yes. Yes.
Oh, he says that because I'm 21 and prior to turning 20, I did some immature actions. Okay.
Maybe
I mean, I
I don't
guess
know, but they are.
from that
Yeah.
point of view, I also did
Yeah.
immature things. Actually, that's actually a
I'm.
valid point. I
Yeah.
just thought about it. I actually wanted to bring this
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this whole idea that people, only mature people who have reached 20 or 21 are capable of making
Yeah.
decisions. This idea
Yeah.
gets becomes completely stupid if you look at examples of adults doing stupid things. For example, I don't know if you know that in Japan there's an adult man. Recently, I don't know if I should say this. Recently, there's like a teenage girl, and he basically
Okay.
defecated on her bike because he was attracted to her.
Why? Oh my God. Okay, that's really stupid.
Attracted to
That's
her.
really stupid, isn't it?
That's it. Now, if this is really the case that
Yeah.
adults
Yeah.
are mature enough to make decisions, why do we see shit like this? Why?
Exactly. Why?
I
Right?
mean,
Why?
why is
Yeah.
it that in
It
many
doesn't mean that
cases,
just because you're an adult, you're capable of making good decisions. Sometimes you make stupid ones,
yeah,
right? Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
So that is actually not an indication of maturity. It depends, right? It
yeah,
depends on your environment and your
exactly. So
situation.
the
Yeah.
point is that just because you reached a certain age doesn't mean you will be less mature than other people. Just because you're under 18 doesn't mean you're less mature than other people. Just
Exactly.
because you're over 18 doesn't mean you're more mature than other people.
Exactly. I agree
It
with you.
depends on the person.
I
And
you
that's
know what?
the point.
Honestly speaking, I don't think I was mature even when I reached 25. Okay, or 26. I can tell you that, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the
Yeah.
thing, right? I mean, like, I once saw there's this channel called Two Violence. They did a reaction video to a prodigy who's like 10-year-old, and
Okay.
she can play violin better than most violinists in the industry. And they were
Wow.
looking at her. It
That's
was
good.
like shock,
That's
absolute
good.
shock, because she
That's
plays
good.
so
That's
well
good. That's
that
good.
like it was
Oh,
absurd. And
brother
the thing
Sydney,
is that
Yeah, better
Yeah.
Sini ask a question. I can answer that. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Is 21 also the age you can start driving? Yes, the answer is yes. You can only take your driving license once you reach 21, not prior to that. Okay? Yeah. I think I answered the question. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, that's the point. Anyway, let's continue, inshallah. I don't think we'll be able to finish this. Let's try to go for 3 hours if we can. By the way, we have
Wow.
audience, alhamdulillah. Many
Okay.
people
All right.
watching,
All
so
right.
let's continue, inshallah.
Okay. All right. Okay. Got
In
it.
2007, the United
ahead.
Nations Children Fund reported that a girl under 15 is 5 times more likely to die during pregnancy and childbirth than a woman in her 20s.
Okay, I think, hold on, 51. Okay, actually,
Another paper pointed out that girls under 18 are more likely to die from childbirth and debilitating illnesses like
okay, so hold on. Again, this is another misrepresentation. So basically, the study he's citing is an opinion piece. It's not a research paper. Okay, let me pull up the study, and you'll see what I mean. By the way, do you guys know what an opinion piece is? Chat. So yeah, this is the paper he's citing, and this is just written by one person. It's just written by one person. It's not a proper academic study. It's not peer reviewed. It's just an opinion piece. Bro, are you there? Oh, you muted.
Sorry, I muted myself. Sorry. Yeah.
So this is the study he cites. This is an opinion
look-
piece. This is not
It's opinion paper or a journal. Looks like a journal article.
only one person wrote this, and she's not even some kind of doctor or anything like that. So
Okay,
basically,
alright,
her
alright, okay.
argument is like, she claims that I don't know, something like so basically she claims that girls under 15 are more likely to die during childbirth, but I found no evidence for this, right? So basically she cites, I think, one other study, but there's nothing there that indicates that this is the true. I mean, they don't cite any evidences, or at least I didn't find any. So if Michael can
Yeah.
provide some kind of evidence for this, that'd be great. But as far as I can see, there's no evidence for
Brother, can you continue the stream? I need to go to the kitchen and get a can of Coke, and I'll be back in about okay.
Bro, you're drinking a lot. No problem.
I drink a lot. Yeah, just for a moment. Yeah, I'll come back soon. Right. Yeah. You can continue the stream. Don't worry.
Sure. Brother Sydney says, Islamic calling, what are the countries you hate? We want to know more about you because we know a fair bit about Brother MENJ always. Okay, so I don't necessarily hate any countries. I do think that most countries are very beautiful places. Even places like America and like UK, most of the people are very nice and they're very mature. That the problem is that the reason why Muslims and Christians or atheists and people in the West, the reason we have so much hostility is because we're not listening to one another, right? I do believe that if there's more open communication and people just get rid of the culture of bias and just openly discuss with other people instead of seeing each other as the enemy, I do think that can ease things a lot, and that would make this a lot better if we want to give dawah to them, right? Because I feel like when it comes to many scholars, unfortunately, even many duats, we immediately think the West as this enemy. But the thing is that people in the West are just people, you know. They've been brainwashed, just like many of us have been brainwashed, right? We don't really know what Islam actually teaches. Sorry, I mean, they don't know. So it's our job to clarify when they have a misunderstanding, instead of like just, you know, shunning them as shunning a whole country or anything like that. For example, in regards to America, especially, I don't hate America. I'm going to be honest. Like, I don't hate America. I just think it's a country. What I do hate, though, is their ideology, which is liberalism or secularism. But that's not exclusive to America. There are many people in America that don't like secularism, that don't like liberalism or even feminism. I do think that we need to have more open discussion with these people, and instead of like hating a country.
I can't hate America because I have this, right? Yeah. I was born in the States. I mean, come on, I can't hate my own country or both, even though I hate these policies, but I can't hate America. I was born there. Okay.
So, but they're clueless about Islam. They just exactly. I think if we want to give dawah, we have to be patient with a lot of people. That's not to say that there are not bad people there. I mean, people like David and like Apos are just horrible. And even Michael now, I have realized, because I used to watch Michael's content even long before this. And and he actually used to do quite well against atheists. But unfortunately, now that he's turning against Muslims, he's
he's
making very
pivoting.
bad arguments because
So
he doesn't understand what
IP,
Islam actually is.
so IP is
Yeah.
pivoting towards Islam now. Is he trying to attack Islam now?
Yeah, of course. I mean,
Mm.
he's constantly making shorts insulting Islam, derogating Islam. I mean,
Maybe
I
because
even
of,
saw another short a few days ago where he said something
oh,
stupid about
okay.
Islam, which is just not true.
I think it's because he's starting to be friends with Apusi and the psychopath. I think it could be because of that.
Yeah, it could be. It could be. It could be. Now, now again, I'm going to be completely honest, and I do think I'm not calling out anybody. Okay, just relax. But I do think that many Muslim duats are not helping matters. We are
Yeah.
actually peddling more hostility towards non-Muslims and non-Muslim countries, which is not helping matters. I mean, like, this whole thing about like this whole debate that happened, a lot of it was about a misunderstanding, because the thing is that
Yeah.
they think that this kind of things is unthinkable. These are just children, but these things aren't true. They're not children. Like, and even if you think that your own religion allows that, I mean, historical context, shows that this is happened throughout history. So these are
Yeah.
misinformation that happened. But instead of kind of like clarifying that in a soft and kind of like understanding manner, a lot of these
Yeah.
duas are kind of like being very harsh with them, insulting them. I don't think that's very beneficial. And I'm gonna be I'm being completely honest. I'm not calling anybody out here, but that's just how it came across to me. And I think Brother Knowledge Note would agree with this. I don't know about Brother MENJ, because the thing is, I think Brother
I'm
MENJ has
pretty
been
much
with
neutral.
hostile
I'm
people.
pretty, and I myself have been very harsh to other people too, so I might fall into that group. But I have my reasons, and I never call myself a da'i. Okay, I call
Yeah,
myself an apologist. So I think a da'i would behave a bit differently from an apologist. So yeah.
yeah, yeah. Anyway, okay. So we kind of got off track. So what I wanted to say
Yeah.
is that,
Yeah.
so this study that he cites, it says nothing about. Oh, hold on, let me see. Yeah, so this study has no evidence that is cited that shows that this is true in regards to child marriage, or at least I couldn't find it.
Okay.
That child marriage causes depression or anything like that. Because I personally know people who have married younger. I even have friends like that who already has children, and I'm still like
My
not
my
married.
my my late grandmother married when she was 14. Okay. to
Nice.
my
Is she
to
happy,
my
by the way?
yeah.
Is she happy?
Well, she died a happy woman, so I don't know. I mean, she was
Yeah,
very happy
exactly.
when she
And
passed away.
those who live in the Muslim countries know many people who have married earlier, and they're very happy. So this claim that it's going to lead to unhappiness is not true, and it's not
Yeah.
true for everybody.
Yeah. I
So
think
it's
it's
kind of like an
nonsense.
outlier or kind of like an exception that he's
Yeah.
using to attack Islam with, or even attack like
Exactly.
early marriages like this.
Exactly.
So, and this study, I looked at it and I didn't find anything that suggests, or any kind of evidence that would suggest that this leads to kind of like psychological harm. So he needs to provide more evidence or proper citations if he wants to make this claim. Hold up, what happened to the? Oh, I accidentally closed the closed the
What?
closed the
What?
debate. Hold on.
No, it's never mind, it's all right. Yeah, just you can just open it there.
Okay, here we go. Here we go. Uh, okay, here we go. Oops. Okay, so yes, let's continue, inshallah.
Obstetric
Yeah,
fistula.
right.
In Mali, the maternal mortality rate for girls 15 to 19 is 178 per 100,000 of live births. And that is not just because of poor health care, because in the same country, the maternal mortality rate for girls, for women, that is only 32 per 100,000.
Okay, so this is something I need to explain a bit. So hold on. Hold on. Okay, so this is the study he cites. Let me share the screen.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm sorry, bro. You're not saying anything. I'm just
No,
speaking
it's okay. I
silently.
mean, you can. I only say something if I have something to say. Otherwise, yeah, you can.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll definitely. I'll give you the signal if I need to say anything. All right. Yeah.
Sure. Let me find the.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is another opinion piece. Hold on, let me share the screen.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So he basically cites this thing. It says in Mali, for example, the maternal mortality ratio for MMR for women aged 50 to 19 is 178 per 100,000 births, compared to the MMR of only 32 for women aged 20 to 34. So basically, the
Right.
claim they're making here is that when it comes to maternal mortality or mother's health or mother's death, it's a lot
Mhm.
higher for younger mothers than it's higher than for older mothers.
Mhm.
But then again, there's a problem with this. This study I couldn't find anywhere. See this one. So this is basically like opinion piece, and I couldn't find any evidence for this. But
Okay.
so I looked at this study, and I found a later study which actually contradicts what this says. So let's take a look at that. Not as yeah. So and this study also concludes something completely different than what this study is saying. Supposed study, which I couldn't find.
Hmm.
Let's take a look at this.
Hmm.
Here we go. Okay. So this is the background. This is the latest study that came out in, I believe, 2021. So it's much recent, and that one is from 2002. So it says the following: maternal mortality occurs mostly in context of poverty and health system collapse. By the way, they don't say that it's because of early marriages. I mean, they mostly blame poverty. In
Yeah.
2017, 295,000 women died in childbirth, over 196,000 of them in sub-Saharan Africa. Mali has a very high maternal mortality rate, 562 women dying 100,000 births. And this extreme high mortality rate is due to, in part, of long-standing constants in maternal health. Now, do you notice this number? It says that 562 women died, right? Now, let's adjust this number with the numbers we have from his study, which says the following. Yeah. So his study only shows that there are 210 women died per 100,000, right? But this study is saying there are like 500 women that died per 100,000. Now, these 210 women are basically women that are minors, right? So what about the rest of the women? Like, where did they go? Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Which means that this rest of the women, which is like the number of like, I don't know, like 352 women, which is minusing all the reported study of the adult or 20 to 35 and like the minor marriages, you still have 352 women. So where did they come from? What happened to them? So basically, these are women that probably, and I'm guessing this is purely guesswork. If anyone want to correct me, they can correct me. I'm guessing that these are women that are way over 35. Right? These are women over 35. Because if this was really the case that these are even younger, this study would have mentioned it, but it doesn't. So these are possibly women over 35. If that is the case, then that means you have more older women death in terms of maternal death than younger women death.
Than young women, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
And
math.
if that's the case, then his argument completely collapses. This shows that older woman is, when it comes to maternal death, older woman has more death than younger woman. If the study is accurate and the number has not changed, which is unlikely.
Yeah.
So again, it doesn't work. Like you cannot say that, when older women are dying more than younger women, it's not a good argument.
Exactly.
Also, this study is contradicted by the US, where we also see the same kind of thing. Let me share another study. So if you look at some of the US numbers.
Yeah.
Okay, here it says.
Yeah.
It is also talking about maternal mortality in the United States. The increase from 2020 to 2021 for all race and Hispanic origin group were significant. Rates increased with maternal age. Rates in 2021 were 20 deaths per 100,000, live births for women under the age 25, 31 for those aged 25 to 39, and 138 for those aged 40 and over. 40 and over. So if anyone wants to come here and say that, oh, I'm just kind of like cherry picking data, this research paper also says the same thing, which confirms my theory, which is that women over 40 are dying more from maternal health issues, even in America.
Yeah.
So then why doesn't, if this is really the case that, young marriage is problematic because, you have some death from the younger demographic, then why isn't it also problematic when the same thing happens to older women, right?
Yeah.
And also, by the way, this is not the case of that, I'm doing some kind of water butchering, right? Because the thing
Right.
is that when you have a theory, that theory has to be consistent. His theory
Yes.
is not consistent
Yeah.
because he doesn't have an issue with older women being married, 35-year-old being married. He doesn't have an issue with that, or even 40-year-old being married. And yet
That's
you see
right.
the same kind of complications, even worse kind of complications. So it's completely inconsistent. He's committing the fallacy of inconsistency. His argument is not consistent. His theory is not consistent.
Okay.
Now, of course, like when it comes to this type of women who are older and younger women, banning them from being married is completely inhumane and wrong, because it
That's
could be
right.
the case they want to get married, right? And
That's right.
I don't think you should have the right to take that away from them. What
That's
should
right.
happen is that some of these health factors that are affecting them negatively should be removed. For example, when
Right.
it comes to poverty,
Right.
poverty is a major factor. Poverty, then you have health-related issues. You can reduce them by increasing their health, their
Yeah.
access to healthcare, and this kind of stuff. Again, these
That's
risk
right.
factors can be removed. That
Yeah.
has been the marriage itself should be removed, right? That's just a
Yeah.
inconsistent, unrealistic kind of proposition, and it doesn't make sense
Yep.
because it's inconsistent.
Yes.
Uh, did you, Brother Christian Thomas, was you sore at me for asking a question? Did you sore at him for asking a question?
I don't even know who this person is. Why would I swear at this person? I don't get it. Probably it's a troll. I heard fireworks.
Huh?
I heard fireworks.
Really, outside? That's interesting. Maybe they're celebrating because
No,
I'm
sorry,
destroying
I was
Michael.
no, sorry. No, I was playing a video. I thought I heard fireworks, but it's actually from a video that suddenly started in my browser. Sorry.
Okay. Okay. All right, let's continue, inshallah. Okay, by the way, bro, please feel free to jump in if you want to say something.
Yeah, let's just continue this. Yep.
So basically,
We have another hour, right? Okay.
Basically, what he's doing is committing the fallacy known as quoting out of context.
Yeah.
And another fallacy, which is basically the cherry picking fallacy. Hold on, I think I have the animation here.
That's right. Yeah.
Where is it? Where is the cherry picking fallacy?
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah, this one.
Okay.
So he's quoting data points, points in data points, without explaining the context, and he's only accepting evidences that agrees with his worldview and completely ignoring other evidences that contradicts his worldview. Things like poverty, things like
Sure.
the fact that 35-year-old also saying the same kind of problems. In many cases, even more problems, right?
Right.
Brother Walil Saqib says, what baffles me is that IP is using harm principle for deriving his morality. Although he's a Christian, was supposed to be a divine common theorist. Yeah, that's the that's the thing. So I think he claims to be a virtue ethics. He claims to follow virtue ethics. But again, I already talked about this. There's nothing in the Bible that suggests virtue ethics. Jesus clearly says to follow the old commandment or the law. And see, he just ignores it. He ignores Jesus. And he thinks he knows better than Jesus.
There you go. He probably thinks that secular law is much more superior than biblical law. You see, that's why he's not quoting his Bible at all.
Yeah. All right, let's continue, inshallah.
Togo, for the same groups, the rates are 286 and 39. And the reason for these high numbers is because they're more likely to suffer from eclampsia, postpartum hemorrhage, and obstructed labor.
Okay. Let's stop right there. So he lies about a bunch of things. So he says that, young mothers can face this type of complications in pregnancy. Not all young mothers, some of them. So let's take a look at who else faces this kind of complications, right? Because
Yeah.
if he's saying that this young mother's marriage or young people's marriage should be banned because of this
Yeah.
kind of complications, then you also have to ban a whole list of other people because they also suffer from these complications, which again goes back to the same problem of naturalistic fallacy. Hold on, let me.
Mm.
Yeah, okay. So if you look at this, so this is the thing that he mentions,
Yeah.
eclampsia. This is what he says. Who is at risk for
Eclampsia.
eclampsia? Let's see what eclampsia is. So eclampsia is
Okay.
a severe complication in preeclampsia. It's a rare but serious condition where high blood pressure is
Rare
seizure during
condition.
pregnancy. Yeah, rare condition.
Yeah.
So what is it exactly? And who is at risk for eclampsia? Other risk factors for developing eclampsia during pregnancy include gestational or chronic hypersensation or high blood pressure.
Okay.
So according to Michael, if you have a high blood pressure, you cannot get married.
Yeah.
You can never get married
Exactly.
if you have a high
Exactly.
blood pressure, right? Because we have to be
Exactly.
consistent, right? Because he has a theory
Yes.
that minor people shouldn't be married because they can, when it comes to pregnancy, they can face, some of them can face this type of risks.
Or
factors.
disease. Yeah. Yeah.
If
Yeah.
that's the case, then you
But as
these
it
people
turns
can
but as
get married.
but as it turns out, there are a lot of other factors as well, not just young
Yeah.
marriages. You see? Yeah.
Yeah. So anyone who has a gas or chronic hypersensation, they cannot get married. Being older than 35, again, older than 35 is again coming back again. Whether 35 or younger than 20 years old cannot get married. Pregnancy with twins or
Okay.
people who have who are pregnant with twins should abort their babies. They cannot get married. And first time
Exactly.
pregnancies, nobody can get married then. Because,
Nobody nobody should get married because pregnancy is dangerous and can kill you. It's harmful.
yeah. First time pregnancy, which means that you can get pregnant. You cannot have children because you could have this problem, eclampsia.
Hmm.
Diabetes are another condition that affects your blood vessel. So if you have diabetes, you can get married. If you have kidney diseases, you cannot get married.
Yeah.
So it's just absurd.
My God, my God. If one of those conditions are fulfilled and you can't get basically my wife won't be able to she won't be allowed to be pregnant because she actually has diabetes.
Yeah,
So that will never be born. Okay, she fits one of the
Yeah.
criteria there. You see?
And that's the
It's
thing.
really
Like,
dumb.
I mean,
Really
the
dumb.
thing is,
It's a
of
dumb
course,
argument.
pregnancy is dangerous. Like it doesn't matter like how it happens, but the thing is, that
Well,
it's important.
the thing is, driving is also dangerous. Okay, driving is also
Yeah.
dangerous. Okay, so
Hmm.
what the hell, right?
Now he mentions something else. He says that factors affecting the risk of hemorrhage. He talks about hemorrhage, postpartum hemorrhage in pregnant women in Tibet.
Why is he
So-
quoting? Why is he quoting scientific discoveries in? I mean,
Oh, he's not quoting
studies
scientific discoveries. He's actually quoting opinion pieces.
yeah.
I'm the one quoting
why?
scientific
No, why?
papers.
No. I mean, why? No, why is he quoting from papers talking about women in Tibet, in Mali, in
No,
Africa,
actually, this is
all these places?
I'm the
Right?
one who's.
Oh, you're the
quoting
one
this.
showing this. Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
not him. Huh?
He didn't
I
quote
thought-
this one. He quotes something in Africa. Study in Africa.
okay, all right.
So I'm simply
sorry.
showing the contradiction between
Okay,
this study
alright.
and that study, and
Alright,
showing how
alright.
his theory is not consistent.
Okay, all right, okay.
So, for example, this study shows that, so PPH, here, result. So PPH occurs basically they're talking about hemorrhage. Hemorrhage occurred in 95 women. This happened in Tibet with an incidence of 1.98%. The following factors are associated with high risk for PPH, maternal age, 35. So
Yeah.
if you're over 35, your risk is higher. See this?
Yeah.
So basically what they did, went in Tibet in the hospitals. They went through all the different records to compile a more meta-analysis, analytical study. This is
Yeah.
what they found, which is that women over 35 are more likely to get these kind of conditions.
Yep.
History, also, they have a history of preterm birth. So, for example, if you have a history of
Okay.
preterm birth, you're more likely to get this condition. Cesarean section,
Okay.
which means if you have a Caesar, you're gonna get this kind of condition, neonatal health,
Right.
and occurrence of neonatal X-ray. So this is the conclusion they get to. Maternal age, 35, history of preterm birth, Caesar section, newborn weight, and neonatal asphyxias were at risk for PPH. You can evaluate PPH in Tibet. So if you're over 35, you cannot get married. If you ever had birth using cesarean section, you cannot get married. If you ever have a baby who was, low weight, you cannot get married. You cannot get married if you have breathing problems, right? So no one can get married. If you have any condition, according to Michael, you can never get married.
Mm-hmm.
So
It's really dumb. It's really
yeah,
dumb.
absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I have more. Hold up. What am I doing?
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay, so who else cannot get married? Because he also mentioned other conditions. Hold up.
All right. Wait, let
By the
me
way,
switch on my camera. Yeah. Yeah, let me switch on
I
my
hope you
camera
guys are
first.
not
Person.
getting bored. I know I'm citing like a lot of like different studies, but it's important
Yeah.
that I go through each of them because during the debate, he raised a lot of nonsense that needs to be debunked. I feel like.
Okay.
Okay, so this is another study. Okay,
This is about HIV.
HIV. Yeah, so he also mentioned
Okay.
HIV.
All right.
That the
What does
conditions.
HIV? But what does HIV has got to do with young manager? I don't get it.
So basically, he says in the video, he said that they are more at risk of HIV, which can affect pregnancy
Okay,
or
that's
something
very
like that.
dumb. That's very dumb.
Yeah, that
It
is
has nothing
dumb.
to do.
HIV has
Nothing
nothing
whatsoever.
to do with age.
Nothing to do with the age, man. It doesn't have anything to do with age at all.
Yeah.
Okay.
Risk behaviors in the United States, HIV is spread mainly through having anal or vaginal sex, or sharing needles or syringes with HIV positive partners. Has nothing to do with age. I mean, it can spread to anybody. It's mainly spreads through this type of sexual activities. So I guess anyone who has this type of sex should not be married, according to Michael. So yeah, again,
It's very dumb. Yeah. Yeah.
there's more. He also talks about malaria.
What does malaria has to do with young marriages? I don't get it.
Yeah, this is the
None,
thing.
none,
Like,
none, none of these diseases. None of
if
these
you just
diseases
watch the
have.
debate, if you
Yeah.
just watch the debate, it
Oh
seems like
my
he's so
god.
smart, citing so many different things,
Oh
but he's
my
made so many
god.
stupid points. It
Oh
doesn't
my
make any sense.
god. I mean, it has nothing to do with age, man. I
When
mean,
I was
all these
researching this,
diseases
I
you
noticed
can.
that he made so
I mean,
many stupid points.
even if you live to 100, you can still get malaria. Okay.
Let me share this
Oh my
study for
god,
you guys to
that's very
start.
stupid. Oh my god, I can't believe it. Did he really say those things?
Yeah, I mean, he goes through really quickly because he does
Yeah.
like a shotgun tactic or a machine gun
Yeah.
tactic.
Yeah. Maybe
Uh,
that's why.
then-
Maybe that's why
yeah.
Daniel couldn't respond to some of them because there's too many to respond to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that was his technique, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Throw as
Yeah.
many data points as you can, which is basically a machine gun tactic, right?
Basically,
Yeah.
I guess basically it's the fallacy of appeal to authority. I guess in a way.
hmm So
Yeah.
basically, he just throws a bunch of data without ever explaining what's
My
the
God.
argument here, what's the relation here, how does it
My
relate to
God.
this, right?
My God.
Is your theory consistent with that? Like, he doesn't do any kind of proper
Mm.
analysis. So if you look at
Okay.
this, so
I don't understand what malaria has got to do with young marriages.
So
I really
basically, the point he makes is that basically, their 15-year-olds are more likely to get malaria, which can affect pregnancies and whatnot.
don't.
So how is malaria transmitted?
it.
So let's look at that. Usually, people get malaria by bitten by an effective female mosquito. So anyone who's been bitten by mosquito shouldn't be married. So bro
So a mosquito would avoid an adult, right? It will only bite young children. Is that what he's saying? Oh my god. Okay, that's really
anyone
stupid,
in the
man.
chat, if you guys been bitten by mosquito, forget marriage.
Yeah. Oh my god, it really made my day, Aki. It really made my day. Oh my god.
This is
Okay,
what I'm
okay.
talking about. His argument
Oh my
is so
God.
stupid. It's based on a fallacious premise, like fallacious conclusion. Like, you
Very
cannot take an is and derive an ought
Oh my god. Okay.
without explaining what's the relation here.
Yeah.
It's stupid.
Oh my god. Okay. I guess that means I can never get married because I was beaten when I was a child. Okay, so poor
Yeah.
me. Don't boo hoo. Don't get married because a mosquito bit you.
And police mosquitoes can transmit malaria, and they must communicate with blood means
It's
they can
nothing to do with age, man. It's nothing to do with age. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm spoiling your stream. I'm sorry. I'm laughing too hard. Oh my god.
That's
Okay.
fine.
Okay. And
That's the
let's
thing.
continue.
When I was going
All right.
through it, like I just realized how dumb this guy was being, and just like
Oh
I
my
mean, I
god.
didn't realize how stupid this is until now. I mean, so this. Oh my god.
Oh my god. Sorry. I'm sorry. I just had to laugh. I'm sorry. Oh my god. I'm really sorry.
That's
Oh
fine. It's
my
fine.
god. Oh my
Okay,
god.
so
Okay.
another
Yeah.
point he
Let's move on.
makes
Okay.
is about like obsternal
Okay.
something. So let me. So basically, he's
I don't
trying
know
to
whether
show
we
that
should go
all
and
these
I don't
conditions.
know whether we should I don't know whether we should go through everything because it's obvious that the ones that he made are already stupid. I can't imagine if the others are also the same. Then we'll be laughing
Yeah,
until goodness knows what time, right? So let's just finish this quickly. Yeah.
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 Uh, okay,
Not
so here
shouldn't
it
get
says the
married when you
following.
get bitten by a mosquito. Oh my god. Okay. Fine. Great logic there, Christian.
Okay,
Great logic
so he
there.
says that women at the age of 15 are more likely to get obstetric labor, which is true, but that's not the only group of people that has this risk of this type of
Okay.
diseases.
Yeah.
It says that the risk of
Mm.
obstetric labor in the age group of 50 to 40,
Yeah, I
19,
mean, but as you
42%.
mentioned before, just because it brings harm, it doesn't mean that we should stop doing it, right?
Yeah,
Like driving brings harm. Okay, if you
yeah,
drive on the street and you get an accident, then does that mean you should not be driving at all?
yeah.
Or if you walk on the street and you cross the road and you get hit by a car, does it mean that you shouldn't
Bro,
cross the
you're
road at
drinking
all? You shouldn't be
Coke.
walking
What are you
along the
doing?
road, right?
You're drinking Coke. You can increase diabetes. Diabetes can lead to not
Exactly.
having
Exactly. It
pregnancy.
just so
Pregnancy
yeah, I'm
problem.
drinking. Yeah, so if I'm drinking Coke and it causes
You
diabetes,
need
does
to
that
get a
mean I
divorce
shouldn't get?
now. You need to get a divorce.
Oh my god. Yeah, because this causes diabetes, therefore I shouldn't drink this. Okay. So it's stupid, right? It's really dumb.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh
Okay,
my
so
god.
the risk of obstetric labor in groups, most of 50 to 19-year-olds, was at a percentage of 43%, significantly
Mhm.
higher than that of reference group of 20 to
Yeah,
29.
exactly.
However, a null porous woman, and
Mm.
women who have given birth once before, have an even higher number, which is 50 to 53%. Now, if you look at what this word means, null porous, basically means women who have never faced pregnancy, right? Hold on, let
Mm.
me-
Okay.
I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, null porous refers to a female of reproductive age who has never
Yeah.
had a live delivery. Meaning, these are first-time mothers. So, according to him, first-time mothers are then no one can have children, right? I mean, like if, if first-time mothers has faces these things, and it's actually higher for them to get this, then
Yeah.
no one can get married. Because
There you go.
bro, like you need to anyone who has a wife and they're trying to conceive, forget it, divorce. Don't have a
Mm.
child. It can lead
Yeah,
to
because it's
pregnant
dangerous.
complications.
Yeah,
uh,
because it's dangerous and leads to pregnant complications and can kill your wife. So don't get married ever. Okay, you're
yeah,
killing your wife.
don't get married if
Yeah,
you're married, divorce, and like
yeah.
you know
Or even if
and
you're
like
or even
yeah,
if you're married, don't have S
don't
forever.
have
Just leave
don't
your
have ass and
yeah
don't have kids.
yeah. Don't have kids. All right, don't have S. Yeah. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty much it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, what it says then, an adult woman and a woman who had given birth once. So if you only have one child, you can never have more than one child. Before had 50 to 53% higher statistic significance or obstetrical labor that the reference particle
Yeah.
2-4.
Yeah.
While it's for multi-purpose woman,
Yeah.
the risk was
Yeah.
30%, which is a little lower than the reference
Mhm.
group. So yeah, so I think we have firmly established exactly what's the problem with this argument.
Yep.
and I hope you guys were able to see that. I know it took me a while to like get to the main point, but the point here is that you cannot drive an ought from a is. It doesn't work like that. And an is doesn't tell us what to do in regards to anything. Because the thing is that what drives human beings is whether they want something or not. So if a
Exactly.
young person wants to get married because they're attracted to someone or they feel they're fall into sin, then
Yeah.
they should have the right to get married, knowing full well that there are some risks, but that's fine. There are risks in many different factors of life.
There's always going to be a risk in any decision that we make. Okay,
Yeah.
even if you get a job, there's a risk. Even if you're driving, you're going to get a risk. Even if you're getting your wife pregnant, it's also a risk. Even if you're drinking Coke, there's also a risk. Okay, everything you do in life is there's a risk. It's not happy games and flowers and chocolates. Okay, but that
Yeah,
doesn't
it's
mean
not
that we should stop
justification
doing
to
all these
like
things.
ban any kind of
Yeah,
marriages.
yeah. It still doesn't justify banning this. All right. Okay. Yeah. For example,
So it doesn't
right?
justify banning any of this. And even
Yeah.
if you're really worried about it, then Islam doesn't say you have to do it, right?
Exactly.
But if you
Exactly.
really want to do it, the Islam gives you the option to do it. That's it. And it's not controversial. It's not some, I mean, like,
I mean,
did you
I mean, I
Abdul
mean, in the
Abdul
Muslim,
just made a video like
Mhm.
saying that, oh, Muslims are saying you can like marry. I mean,
I
like,
mean, I mean, I mean, in the Muslim world, this young marriages thing is not even an issue, especially in Asia. I think in your country, brother, I think it was very common back in the day, probably
yeah, I
before
mean,
World War
the
One, World War
way
Two, right?
yeah,
Right? Yeah. In fact, in my country, before World War One, World War Two, this was very common. It wasn't an issue at all. Of course,
mm,
after our societies have has gone further up the I would say the development level, and people become more focused on other things. Then they realize that marriage isn't everything, and having a career and having a house, having a job is much more important than marriage. So that is why societies shift priorities. Okay, so that's the reason why now we don't practice this. I mean, I don't know of anyone uh, in Malaysia right now marrying off their children when they have reached puberty, immediately after they have reached puberty, because this is not a practice today. It doesn't mean that it's haram, or it doesn't mean that it's some sort of abuse. No, nothing of the sort. It's just because our priorities have shifted, and we feel that education is more important, and that having a job is more important before getting married. That's all. It's about priorities changing.
yeah. I mean, like
It's not even a moral issue.
a lot of these
Yeah,
problems that he's
yeah,
citing can be
yeah,
avoided
yeah.
for
Exactly.
if economic system develops,
Yeah,
if you have a good access to good health
yeah,
care, and because the thing is, in modern times, most people don't want to marry their daughters off that early anyway. Like
yeah,
it's up to them. Like, however,
yeah,
there may be some people who still wants to do that to like
yeah.
make a strong family relation or something like that.
For me,
In that
I'm
case,
yeah. In my
you can always
yeah,
kind of
in
like
my yeah,
delay the
yeah,
pregnancy, but you can
yeah.
still be
Exactly.
married, because what's
Exactly.
the alternative? The
Exactly.
alternative is their son is
Yeah.
gonna go watch porn or have
Exactly.
haram relation with someone else, right?
Exactly.
It's still
Exactly.
better than
So
that.
yeah, my opinion is that I'm very neutral in this. I mean, if in my society in particular they don't want to practice this, then so be it. But that doesn't give my society or me the right to tell other societies what to do. If another society wants to
Yeah.
marry off their children when they are young, that's up to them. That's their decision. Okay, I have
Not
no right to
children,
interject. I have no
teenagers.
right. Yeah,
Fix your
yeah.
language, not children, teenagers.
Yeah, teenagers, right? I have no right to tell another society, hey, you cannot marry off your women when they are
Teenagers,
teenagers, okay?
preteens.
When they are teenagers, because of my own society's rules and customs. Okay, I cannot impose my customs upon them. That's totally unfair and unjust, because I don't know what their situation is. Their situation may be different. They probably need, to marry off their teenage girls, that teenage women, because of their circumstances. Probably they need them to have a family, to start a family as soon as possible, so that they can
Yeah.
start working and help the society in general.
Mhm.
So it's unfair for me to use the standards of my society and impose them on another society which needs this kind of situations. All right.
Mm.
So that's my
Brother
position.
Sydney
Okay.
says,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
the West wants to tell us what to do and how our culture should be 20%.
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
the problem. That's exactly the problem, because the West thinks that they are superior than us, than the Muslims in the East. They think that they are better than us. Okay. So that's the problem.
Okay,
That's
so
precisely where the problem is. Okay. That's precisely
I'm
where
going
the
to
problem
address
is.
the brother. He says that
Yeah.
why don't you do debates? Yeah, I
Okay.
tried debating. I think I debated T-Jump a while back,
Yeah. Yeah.
but it's not for me. I don't like the whole debate culture for a number of different reasons. Or one of the reasons is this actually. So when I looked at his arguments, when I was watching the debate, it seemed like he was winning the debate against Daniel. That's until I actually started looking at the evidences. Then I looked at the evidences, then compiled it with his argument. As you guys saw in the stream, it's a stupid
Yeah.
argument. None of this makes any sense.
Yeah.
It's absolutely, and we were laughing, really, literally laughing, right? It's a very
Yeah.
absurd and stupid argument. It's illogical, unrealistic, absurd, inconsistent because Christianity allowed this, which maybe we'll talk about in another stream because
Yeah,
more
of
like
course.
2 hours already.
Yeah, that's right.
But it doesn't make sense. It's a very stupid argument. And I hope if any non-Muslims are watching, I hope you guys can see this as well, because I know I'm not noticing a lot of kind of like people are attacking us for this and making very stupid points. Hope it's been
Yeah.
established in the stream that their position is very stupid. But
Exactly.
anyway, the point is the reason I usually don't do debates is because when it comes to when they throw this type of research at you, you actually need to fact check them. But in an open discussion or a debate, you cannot do that. Now I know
Yeah, you
that
don't have the time to do this.
when it comes to legal courts and this kind of, they actually give you the evidences before the debate takes place. If something like that could be arranged, then I wouldn't have a problem with it. But as of now, I'm not going to engage in a type of debate, this type of debate culture where you cannot really analyze the evidence at hand, because I want to make the best argument possible. And I know I cannot do
Yeah.
that if I'm doing a live debate, which is why I mostly make like offline videos.
Mhm.
Anyway, so should we continue, Aki, or should we just end it here?
I think let's do a part 2 later.
Wanted a part 2?
Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do a part 2. Let's do it next week, inshallah. I think
Right.
I need to write
Right.
down how far along did we get. We only got 5 minutes in. Oh my god.
Oh my god. Yeah, we were laughing, right? Most of the time we were laughing.
Okay, I'm gonna mark this.
Yeah. Yeah, please do.
Mark this red.
Yep.
55 minutes, 5 to 55 minutes is where we stop the debate.
Yes,
So yeah,
that's right.
okay. I guess that's about it. Thank you guys for joining.
Yeah.
It was very nice. I hope I established why this guy is a frankly he's very stupid. He's making some very stupid point.
I was actually laughing, and I can't believe that I was
Argument is-
laughing at the points. Oh
Yeah,
my
his
God,
argument is
okay.
very dumb.
Yeah. Yeah.
His argument is very dumb, and
It is.
I
It
think
is, no
some
doubt.
people are criticizing Brother Daniel, but I think you need to understand is this that
Yeah.
when it comes
Yeah.
to
You can't.
live
You can't.
debates,
Yeah. You can't blame
you
Daniel.
actually
Yeah.
need to do kind of proper analysis, and I'm sure that
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
his debate
Yeah,
discussion-
I think the first debate, the first 2 debates that I did, they didn't go very well until I started to debate. I started to debate a pussy that changed the tide for me, and then I debated Tom Jam again second round. I think I won the second round. I hope. Yeah, the one with regards to Aisha. I think he had no points.
well, the brother was just
Yeah.
kidding. No problem.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah.
I think Daniel,
Okay.
for what it's worth,
Yeah.
did not do too horribly, but at the same time, I don't blame him because, like,
Yeah.
when you're,
Yeah.
he basically did kind of like a machine gun tactic,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
this is very disingenuous for him to do this.
Yeah.
And I think he only focused on his arguments rather than the evidences he brought,
Yeah.
because you actually need to go through each and every one of them. So I don't blame him for not being able to answer all of them. Because
I
understand.
think you mentioned something about Daniel being ill as well, right? So maybe that could have affected his
I think
presentation as well.
I don't know. I mean, like, I don't know. I have to ask the brother if he has.
Yeah,
okay.
right.
But
Right,
it's not possible to go through each data point. I think he did touch on
Yeah.
some of them, but
Yeah.
to actually go through some of them, because it took me like
Yeah.
whole night to like go
Yeah.
through all of this. But still,
Yeah,
I think
and
he did
then-
relatively well, alhamdulillah, and I still have some respect for him. And
Yeah.
although brother Knowledge North will probably disagree with me, I love him. No worries. I know that they're like fighting. at
Yeah,
the moment.
yeah, that's right.
I-
That's right. Yeah.
I hope that they can have a conversation, kind of like come to a mutual term or whatever.
I think you should invite Brother Daniel onto your show again and have me yeah. Why don't you invite him?
I mean, to be honest, maybe we'll talk about it offline.
Yeah, all right, okay.
The thing is that sometimes brothers do have genuine difference of opinion, and sometimes
Yeah.
that cannot just be hand waved away.
I
And
understand,
unfortunately, it's just how it is. I mean, the whole Muslim world has this problem, and
Yeah.
I think there's a hadith where the Prophet said that this type of difference will exist, or Muslims will fight each other in some extent. But
Yeah.
when it comes to things like enemies of Islam, as long as at least on this point, I hope that we can all agree and fight our enemies together. At least that's what I hope.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. I
Now,
hope the same too. Right.
yeah. Okay, so I guess I'll end this. I'm being attacked by mosquitoes. Further damage to marriage.
You can't get married. You can't get married.
So yeah, I guess I'm gonna end the stream now. Again, thank you
All
guys
right.
so much for joining. This is the first
Thank
time
you, everyone.
I'm doing another live
Yeah.
after a very long period of time. I haven't done live in quite a while.
Thank you, everyone, for
Thank you
joining.
guys for
Those of
watching,
you
for sticking
who,
with us.
yeah,
We got a lot of
Yeah,
viewers,
the-
alhamdulillah. So I hope you guys
Yeah,
subscribe to the channel as well. Also subscribe to Brother this direction, Brother MENJ's channel and my channel as
yes,
well.
this one.
And if you like the content, inshallah, more will come. I will do another live stream next week, inshallah. And
Yes.
yeah, I'll see you guys later. And thank you guys
Yes.
for watching. Jazakallah khairan. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi.